Okay.
What is up? That was awesome. Welcome,
cool.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, licensed and unlicensed radio operators of all ages, to the Northeast Ham Radio's monthly July happy hour live stream. The only happy hour live stream that is type accepted by the FCC. And I managed to say all that without snorting beer out my nose when I saw Izzo.
Look, it's Izzo the shock
love
jock.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. Oh man, we gotta go to you, Izzo. We gotta go to you. What's up, brother?
No, man, don't be going to me. Go to somebody else first.
You're the only one that came
No.
prepared.
Yeah,
Someone
you
got
came
the
blessed.
message.
I was told this was going to be like what we did when we were younger.
We did that.
Well, no, well, when I was younger, I didn't have the glasses. I didn't have the Elvis glasses.
How much perm are you got in that hair?
Soul Glow. What are you talking about?
Soul Glow and Aquanet.
Aquanet.
No, I told the barber, listen, I usually get my hair cut every Thursday, every Friday. I walked in there on Friday. I said, listen, you got to do my hair a little bit different. I got this gig going on for Saturday night. Can you hook me up? He says, all right. He says, trust me, but you can't look in the mirror. So he turned the barber chair the other way. So.
Just put a bowl on your head and just
You look
spun
like
it.
an Italian Howard Stern is what you look like.
Yeah.
I've been told that before. I have been told that before. So
Holy shit.
look, it's real. Ow, it's real.
I wore a Back to the Future shirt, but that was the extent. So
I must have missed the call to get dressed up, but you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I missed that one too.
yeah, well, as anyone who's tuning in, if you haven't figured out yet, we have a theme tonight. We have a Back to the Technician theme.
Is Izzo fading? Like, is this a real Back to the Future where he's fading?
Yeah,
out of the picture.
Bent back.
Because no, I'm out. No, I just realized I'm outside and my laptop is dying. A new one
Yeah,
came
the camera's
in.
dying.
The camera is dying. Oh shit!
You are very much like getting cut out of the picture.
Is it color wise? Is
Oh
it
yeah,
like-
it's everything.
I thought I was watching like a Depeche Mode video or something. I don't know. Like,
What is that?
Izzo's got like the hypercolor filter. If anyone remembers the hypercolor shirts.
Yep.
Just switch your name to Mystery Guest. Switch your name to
Yeah.
Mystery Guest, and we're good.
It's like, remember the CRTs where you bang on the side to get the guns to back a line? This one, you just whack them upside the head. We'll get back in color.
well, the color right now, everything is like half green right now. I don't know if that means anything.
Oh no, it's pink here.
No, you're fuchsia,
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah.
It's changing all the time. It's a lava
You
lamp.
look like my Lucky Charms if I let him sit in the bowl
All
too
right,
long.
tell you what. Let me switch device. Let me hop out of here. I'll switch devices and we'll try this again. Okay.
Sounds
It's
good.
kinda
We'll be
cool,
here.
though.
All right.
You know, we ain't going anywhere for a while. We do this once a month and it goes. But yeah, no, as I was saying earlier, theme tonight, Back to the Technician, Back to the Future. What would we do if we went back to when we were technicians? What would we do different? What would we tell ourselves? What advice would we give new hams who are new technicians? That's the theme tonight, until we get some more drinks in us at least. So let me welcome everyone. We chatted with Izzo. Let's welcome everyone else from the Northeast and Arizona to the stream.
And over the pond, apparently.
I know. Oh, yes. But she's still living in the Northeast, so
At least her mail gets there. But.
yeah, at least. yeah. Eric, what's up, brother?
Not much, Mike. I'm doing good. As those that are probably maybe surprised, the facial fur is progressing well there. So, thank you all of okay. Don't be dreaming me in about your dreams. But for all that worth, it's coming along. It's Yeah, I'm not a beard guy. I'm gonna let you know up front. Not a beard guy. I like the clean look, and everybody else around me agrees, at least in my immediate family. So I'm doing this for you. Just remember that, guys. This is for you. But outside of that, enjoying it, having fun. Glad to be on tonight, and looking forward to going back to my 1990. That's gonna be crazy with my technician license.
It was 92 for me.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah, we're old.
Yeah, right.
How's the weather, Tortoise? Rub it in.
It's 111 degrees right now, but I got like 50% humidity. The humidity came up because we had the monsoons. It's been bonkers, dude. I mean, I saw a hillbilly in there talking about it's 106 with the humidity. I'm like, no, dude, it's 111 with the humidity on top of it. But it's beautiful out here. It's sunny and it's beautiful and it's warm. Yeah.
Awesome. How is it down under there, Matt? Down in PA?
Down in PA, it's doing well. Had a fantastic day. Went out, did some early morning POTA, as Eric saw on the First Beacon Network, and got 77 contacts once people woke up. I got there a little early, but my stupid butt, I set up right near where the train was passing. So once in a while, it's always when the low signals, the real bad ones, were coming in, like the ones that were faint, the 5.5s, the 5.4s. Oh, right when the train comes, but. Doing well. The weather's nice up here, and then afterwards we did breakfast and then did another POTA with the actual club. So it was a blast. And then I did the Washington Crossing POTA with just the select members from the club on Monday. So we did the PA side and then crossed the river, the really small bridge. Look up Washington Crossings Bridge. Mm-hmm. When I put my car's width in there, I had 6 or 7 inches on either side of the car for driving that. So it was interesting. And then we did the Jersey side, and I tried to do a Rove, but the one park was all blocked off. They didn't want us to activate, so drove me nuts.
Who did we lose?
No, I'm here.
There was Izzo.
Izzo jumped off. Yeah.
Izzo again? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gotta get the
So
CRT
Matt,
back in.
you went out early. What time did you go out? And what bands and modes were you doing?
Mostly SSB because it was a new ham radio operator from the club. Okay. He loves voice. So we went out and basically jumped on 40 right away to see if it's still rocking and rolling. Yep. Then we went back over to 20 because no one was out there except for the European stations. It was slim pickings. And then finally people started waking up maybe 10, 12 minutes later at 6:15. And that's when we got huge pileups. We actually had to tell people we got to go because we were going to be late for breakfast, and just push the button. Actually, someone was talking to us and like, hey, it was a park to park. He goes, can I take your frequency? I'm like, go right ahead. So he had a pileup waiting for him. So that's always fun to do, passing the torch over to another park, and that was a blast. So we had a good time, and it was fun. But it was early, 4 a.m. wake up and. Drive 20 minutes to the park, but it was well worth it.
Nice. Yeah, it's a challenge. Having done a lot of activations earlier this year at like 6 a.m, it's a little bit of a challenge with people getting up and I operated a lot of those times just doing 30-meter FT8 and stuff, but you get on 40 meters and I think it's probably starting to close down in Europe as far as the openings on 40. It's already, getting close to late morning, afternoon there, and so 40 is not that good of an option because it's not open, to the east, and regionally people would need to be up. And
yep.
And so it can be a challenge on at least doing the voice modes and stuff. But no, good on you. That's awesome. Yep. Speaking
77.
Ooh,
77.
Woohoo!
Wow, man.
Oh yeah.
Spread.
Look at that.
Big ins.
Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
And that was very early in the morning. That was like 6 a.m. You said.
So Matt, you were running at a vertical, right?
We were running a semi-vertical sloper of a random wire. My random wire, obviously.
Yeah, all the above. Check the box.
It wasn't a vertical formation, so.
That's not a bad spread pattern.
No. This one was with a Rybakov. It's hard to see. I should upload it.
Oh, you got
Oh,
Washington.
this is a stray
State.
one.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
we had some far
Washington State or
flingers. Yep,
something.
Mm-hmm.
we had some far flingers. Oop, can I zoom in? There we can zoom in.
Can. Yep.
So the reason we only had 27 contacts on that is because we had 7 operators from the club, and
Oh.
POTA operators absolutely
God.
loved it. Man, they were like jumping on us. And the one time we had 3 parks with 2 operators or 3 operators, and we're like, how do you want to do this? So it was rather interesting and a lot of fun.
A lot past the mic.
That's been my week.
Nice.
That's technically 189 contacts.
Yep. When I submitted, it was like 36 or 38. So,
Oh, wow.
yep.
Well,
Impressive.
speaking of DX in Europe, let's go to Shannon next.
Oh, I thought you were going to go rabbit.
Um,
Okay.
I'm confused.
Nice.
So yeah, what are we talking about? I'm sorry.
Wow.
It's 11 o'clock at
What is it,
night.
11 o'clock there or something?
Yeah,
literally.
it's rather late, and to sort of go along with what Matt was saying with, when you're doing an earlier POTA, there's challenges because like a lot of the United States isn't awake, and what's open in Europe might be different. So I'm sort of experiencing the opposite effect, right? Like one of the first POTAs that we went out to do, I think I talked about it on Brew and Activate. We were out like maybe around 2 o'clock in the afternoon here, but then when I counted back, I realized, wait a minute, it was only 10 o'clock on a Wednesday morning
Mhm.
on the East Coast of the United States. So a lot of people, if they were awake, then they were probably at work, so there wasn't a lot of people that were using ham radio or whatever. But we did like 3 different POTA attempts. 2 of them were successful, one of them was not, and that was the one that was not is because it was like a small local park. It's right up the street here, and there's a lot of houses around, so there is a lot of RF noise, which if we had moved the antenna like further into the back corner of this little recreation ground where we were, like maybe it would have been better. But the challenges of trying to do POTA and also keep Miles entertained at the same time, is proving a little difficult, but that's okay. This trip wasn't all about radio. It
No,
all
it was about tanks.
it did. It started out being about tanks, and Tank Fest was absolutely amazing.
We need
And,
video.
Um,
Or it didn't happen.
yeah, I
got
I
pictures.
I did post a lot of pictures on my Facebook. So if you follow me on Facebook, you can see a lot of the pictures on there. And I can try to post them on Discord as well. The only thing with Discord is that like they only let you post 10 pictures at a time, so it's a little bit of a pain in the neck. So then, I gotta like go through and pick out which ones are my favorites or whatever. But, I did take some video using my little like fake DJI camera. I don't know how good it's gonna come out. I did that mostly on the day where Tank Fest was 3 days. So the first day we did like all the indoor part of the museum. The second day we did all the outdoor stuff, which was really cool. I was able to like climb into the commander's seat of like a warrior armored vehicle. That was pretty cool. I was able to
Awesome.
climb into the gunner seat of a Challenger 2 tank. So that was really cool. So there was a lot of like stuff that you could do where you could actually like go into the tanks. And then the third day, I ended up upgrading to what do you call it? Like the bleacher seats, where you can, basically sit in this covered area and see the whole arena. So you get to see the whole, all the different little tank shows that they do. So they started off with like all the different challengers. So they actually are just bringing into service a Challenger 3 tank. So they
Nice.
gave everybody like a preview of the Challenger 3 tank. And they did like World War One tanks, World War II tanks. And I think they did like Cold War tanks. So that was, it was so cool to see all that stuff and learn a lot of stuff about, all different armor and tanks and different vehicles. Like there's this tank, this vehicle that it's the bridge tank, and it just unfolds this gigantic
Bridge tank.
bridge. Yeah, it was crazy. I did take a video of, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't know if that was on my phone or what that was on, but there's also like tons of videos on YouTube from, the Tank Museum and where they do, all different videos of Tank Fest and deep dives on tanks. So yeah, that was Tank Fest, and I mean that was like a month ago now. That was like a month ago this weekend. So, I mean, we've done a whole bunch of different stuff since then. Going to, being here in the East Midlands, doing some little day trips. Like I said, we just went to that adventure farm with Miles today, so that was really cool. They had like all these little paddle pools and sand set up to make it like a beach, because we're like basically the furthest away from a beach as you can get here. We got to feed sheep and goats and cows and chickens, and this is great. Like, I'm living my best life here. I'm in the country. I hang my laundry out on the line every day.
I have my porridge and tea and crumpets every morning.
Yes,
Beans
I
on
have
toast.
not. I have not yet had porridge here at at home, but I have had crumpets like 3 different times. So, crumpets
Beans
are
on
good.
toast. Beans on toast.
I haven't had any. I haven't had any beans on toast yet.
You're not living unless you eat beans on toast.
We do
Do
have
that at home.
beans. We have beans. We have bread. I could make beans on toast if I so desired.
But they wouldn't be British beans, would they?
No, well, no. They're Heinz. They're Heinz beans, which it's weird because they're like.
Isn't that
they're
an American company?
No, so yes, that's the thing, is that Heinz is an American company, but why are the UK Heinz beans different than the American Heinz beans? And if you want to get UK Heinz beans in America, they're like, I don't know, £5 a can or something, or $5 a can. They're like ridiculously expensive, but here it's like
It's what it
they're
here is
only-
normally.
they're like a pound. So, but I have tried like a few uniquely British things, I guess. Like I've been drinking like different British drinks, Dandelion and Burdock, which is like a soda pop, Tizer, which is interesting. Iron Brew I had already had because we can sort of get that here in the States. Let me see, trying to think what else. Having like different candies. So, I love British sweets. So, like rhubarb and custards and chocolate limes and lemon sherbets and jelly babies and wine gums and.
Jelly baby. Is that like a jelly bean?
No,
Probably.
it's like it's a gummy candy, I guess you could say, but it has this like very interesting sort of grainy texture, I want to say, that is very soft, and it is not like anything that we have in the States. Oh yeah, and also like Parma violets, that's another like very uniquely British candy. And love hearts, but love hearts are sort of like our conversation hearts, so they're not too different, but
Uh-oh. Matt's been playing with too many buttons.
Hey, I did it over. It shows up here, but not on air. I mean, not on mic. So
Everything
Awesome.
feeds into us. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Well, let me hit them
Yeah,
off here.
look at
Might as well
all
at this
the-
point.
all the gift memberships that are coming through.
Yep.
So
Thank you, N3VAN Radio, for the 5 gifted. We get Don, Jeff, Gershback, Matthew, Kelly, and Kel Jacobson. Cool. Awesome, guys.
and I gave
Congratulations.
5 over to Mike into MAK's channel too.
Yep. Yep, and let's
Nice.
see. Let's see who he outed as not being a member. He
I
he
let
outed
my membership slip.
Lee McNasty, Punk Rock Ham Radio.
Oh boy, that says a lot for somebody who's on the Thursday and
Let's
Tuesday
see,
scene.
who else was? Vaughn got one.
Photo
KR4
power.
JRD got one, and so did Ron Walensky. So, welcome to the channel, folks. One of my only channel perks, aside from the really awesome emoji, just hit refresh, is early access to videos. I just made a video. I haven't made it members only yet, but I just recorded one, so I'm going to flip it over to members only tomorrow. So you'll get early access to that if you're a new member. Welcome aboard.
Rabbit.
Pay attention to the chat, guys. With me, you'll get a whole bunch of cool stuff coming across you. So,
Yep. Rabbit, what's going on, brother?
Not a whole lot, man. Picked up a 3D printer last week, I think it was. So I've just been crushing anything and everything.
what'd you get?
Bamboo Labs A1 Mini.
Ooh,
So
Nice.
I got it off the marketplace for a really good price. The person that was selling it bought it back in December, so it was fairly new, not a lot of print time. So I've just been crushing it. Anything and everything ham radio related that I can find to print, I've been printing it. So did a video on the prints, some of the stuff I did for the inflate antenna on Wednesday. So editing that right now and get ready to kick it out.
you need to get like a couple more inflate antennas and then just a long mast and then make a beam out of it.
Don't tempt me.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's an idea.
I get a lot of questions about that. Now that I've been selling some of Matt's antennas at Hamfests.
You're a distributor.
He is a distributor.
Well, I reached out to him, like I kind of realized going into this summer, I'm like, I got a lot of ham stuff that I'm not using a whole lot of, and we have shelves of HTs and all kinds of things we can easily get rid of, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna actually sell. And so a buddy of mine who might have seen in a recent video was making the pickle antennas. I was like, hey, let's just share a table and sell some stuff. And so we're getting rid of some of our old stuff. But Matt was thinking about coming up for my club's Ham Fest, which was in June, and he couldn't make it. And so I was like, hey, well, I'm gonna sell. So just send me some stuff. And the running joke, I saved the box because I show it to people at the Hamfest, and I was like, dude sent me a 10-pound box of antennas, like it says on the label 10 pounds, like on the label, and so I have 10 pounds. Half of that is probably the inflate antenna, but I'm fully aware. I think that I have the only 3 unopened ones that are in existence, because I think you're waiting on a resupply of like the material or whatever. But I'm getting a lot of questions. People are like really intrigued by it and stuff. And it's like it's the only antenna that's out there that I have not used, and I didn't want to open one up because I know that like stock is limited. Like, and I sold my G90 at that Hamfest. So,
The P90, no.
What? Wait a minute. You just sold your G90 after you got one back?
I did.
What's wrong with you?
No,
You have like short-term memory or
ADHD.
something?
No,
No, it's
I used it
ADHD,
like
dude.
half a dozen times or so. I had fun with it, but I wasn't using it that much. And one of my friends, who's got the Ron W2ELS, who's got the 599 Signal Report podcast that focuses on CW. He was really interested, and I was like, hey, if you're going to sell it, let me know. And so, I sold it for what I bought it for, and I had bought it from a friend. So it's just kind of no one's making any money on this thing. It just keeps changing hands, right? But I had fun with it, but I just wasn't using it as much. I think there's a difference when you start out in ham radio, and if you start out with something, you don't, whether it's a Baofeng, if it's a G90, if it's a Yaesu, it doesn't matter. You don't know, you don't have anything to benchmark against, right? And then when I pivoted and I got my 705 and 7300, you just get in those radios so comfortable in that ecosystem because ICOM has very consistent UI and and it's good quality. It sounds good, and I think that was like the biggest pet peeve was the sound when I went back to the G90. And you've
but
heard
you kind
Walt
of
comment
knew
on that.
that.
And I was
Like,
"Ah."
the only strength the G90 has is that it can tune a wet noodle on a 100-mile-an-hour windy day. Like, you know.
But it's I think it's a good starter radio. It's a good portable radio. You can do a lot. 20 watts, small form factor. You don't need to bring a big battery with you if you're traveling, you're flying, or anything like that. There's a lot of
20
pros
watts,
for
20
it, but I just wasn't using it. I was like, you know what? There you go. So no qualms
Well,
whatsoever, and I'm glad it's in good hands. And it's
Good that
used.
you pass it on and you realize I don't need to hoard everything,
Yes.
till death do us part. But at the same time, like, dude, like, you have short-term memory with the G90. Like, you give it away, you get it back, you give it away. It's like a bad relationship.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. But I have bought, I've got some new radios that have come in, some new to me radios, and use this kind of like as a segue to this whole Back to the Future type thing because I bought two very old radios. I bought an ICOM. I'm blanking on the number now. It's a 1.25 meter 220 FM monoband from the 80s. I bought that on eBay, and fortunately it works. You don't know. I kind of did as much of a diagnosis as I could from the photos and the description and stuff, but I rolled the dice and I had that out at the park a week or so ago. Programmed it up with some repeaters, made some contacts on it, and so I got that nice old ICOM for 220. And then today, to kind of get in character for the live stream, I went out to do technician-y things, and I brought the Radio Shack HTX 10, which I picked up at a Hamfest.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Used 10-meter Radio Shack radio from, I think, like 1999 or so. And brought that out and made some 10-meter contacts for POTA, which was the first time bringing it out, to a park, and that was a lot of fun. So I'm glad to show some love and have some time to spend with some other radios. There's I've sold some antennas and some other gear I haven't been using.
I'm very curious with that 10-meter radio you got from Radio Shack, how much drift it has. Like, I'm almost guaranteed
Yes.
it's just going to slide down the band.
Yeah, and that was part. I learned. I made a park to park with Ron, who I sold the G90 to. He was out doing a POTA as well and got me on 10 meters, and I was on 14. Or not 14. I'm sorry. 28403. 28403. And he said that he was hearing me on 28 210 or something like or just a little bit down. So it seems like it's got like a little bit of drift and probably needs like an alignment. If you look at my spots, like shortly after I kind of like spotted, I'm like, I'm on an older radio and it seems, and I'm on, 28403, but it might be off frequency a little. But, I got Baofangs that are further out of band, so it's no big deal.
That's the rationale.
Yeah, but that was interesting and stuff. Yeah. Oh, Ron's in the yeah. Ron's like, yeah, huge drift. Yeah,
It was Tokyo. It was like a Tokyo drift.
yeah.
Drift, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, it's fun. That's part of the learning experience, and so like I'll see if maybe I can, if it's something that can be fixed, tuned up or whatever. But maybe it can't. I don't know. But and if it can't, then hey, that's going to make a nice radio for a technician to figure out. So
Passing the buck. Yep.
Yeah. Make it somebody else's problem. No.
That's
Now
actually
that-
funny.
Now
Like
that the world knows now that all like how many people we got watching? 312.
40.
312 people are watching right now, and they know that now I have a radio that has drift that I might sell down the road.
I know. Well, there's always a gullible technician somewhere, right?
Yeah. Oh, now it's dropped to 40 people because they heard I got.
Next giveaway
See what
radio.
happens. Yeah.
Mike selling bum equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, the other technician thing, since I got the floor real quick, that we did today is the first 2-meter FM simplex net. We did that this morning, and I had 22 people check in on FM simplex. We did it on 146.58, also known as the adventure frequency, and 22 people checked in. I was net control, so that makes 23 participants. I was blown away, just like absolutely floored that we had that many people check in. And on top of that,
Looked like
I
my
did it
science
from-
teacher just checked in.
Yeah, I did it from a POTA park. So I did log everybody for POTA. I didn't tell them that until after. But no, that was fun to do, 2-meter simplex net. And there was a handful of people that went out to different locations to try things. There were some people that were checking in with a rubber duck on a HT from their deck. It was really neat. So a lot of fun. And is that Izzo who's got like
think
some
so.
RFI?
Yeah,
coming
it is.
in?
I muted him, and then he unmuted himself.
Yeah.
He's really grasping this like 1980s technician feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh no, we're stripping.
Oh,
Look, you went from Howard Stern to Mr. T.
that's like Ozzy Osbourne going.
You're not going to fit that over that.
Oh, come on. Izzo, you were holding us all up. You were bringing up our
There you
national
go.
average.
But anyway, that was really cool to do, and I'm looking forward to try to do it next month, and maybe it be a monthly thing, a 2-meter FM simplex net. But just blown away by that much participation to get 22 people checking in on 2-meter FM simplex on a Saturday morning. That was great, and I reached a couple counties, and I even got someone to relay a station that wasn't hearing me. So
nice.
that was
That's cool.
really cool. Really good exercise. Learned a lot, and looking forward to doing it again in the next month. And then if it gains steam, then this is something I want to get that ICOM on 220 and do a 220 simplex net. Or it's probably going to be more of a round table because it'll probably be like half a dozen of us or so. But leave no band behind. RF around, find out, and all that good stuff. Izzo, how you doing? You back? You got it figured out?
I'm still working it. Dude, that's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
glad the net turned out well. I know we do a bunch of them kind of like spurious during like our regular nightly nets, and some people will be like, hey, let's just do a 5-2 kind of thing and see how it goes. And it's pretty fun to see and be a part of. I being in a whole RF hole where I'm at, I don't always have the option to play, but when I'm mobile, I try to get out there and do stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I'm in kind of a central location in the suburbs, which is helpful. And I picked a strategic park, which has, some elevation and clearing for the suburbs. And I've done 2-meter POTAs there before, which I've live streamed, and you might have seen. But I got to recognize it's got to be a lot different of perspective for the participants on the net, depending on where they are, because some people are only going to hear a handful of stations, and it's just going to be like one person was like, it's been pretty lonely here for the last 10-15 minutes, because they're not really hearing anything other than me. They're not hearing the other end. But I think that also makes it interesting. If people stick around and stick through it, they can really see what their stations are capable of. It can encourage people to make improvements, try different things, different antennas, different locations. And ultimately, the technicians,
that's awesome.
those newer hams, this is a great opportunity for them to make some simplex contacts and just get that experience, because it is a lot different than getting on the repeaters. So very cool, very cool.
We have one here locally. It's a simplex net once a month, and it's through a club that has a tower with 2-meter antennas at different heights. And he goes through, the net operator goes through and does the net starting off with the first height to see where he can get around, and then
Okay.
the top height he goes around and sees where he can get. It's pretty cool. See
Nice.
the coverage on him.
That was pretty cool. It's funny. Like, how often is that, Rabbit?
Once
Like,
a month.
Daily? Oh, once a month. Okay, good. Yeah. Like
yeah.
I always can like it just blows my mind. People are doing it like 2-3 times a week, and I'm like, dude, that's a lot on a simplex net. Just trying to make it all happen and keep it still going. And especially from a net control perspective, I know those guys. They're the unsung heroes.
The last one we had, I think he said he had 44 or 43 check-ins.
Whoa,
into the
dude,
net.
that's awesome. That's like Mike's
yeah.
live stream.
Well, you figure you're in the DMV, and where this tower is, it's hitting into DC, Virginia, Delaware, Northern Maryland, Southern PA, just off the height of the tower.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
we have a simplex net that is done by CARA, basically Cape Ann Amateur Radio Association. So sort of in like that Gloucester, Ipswich, Andover area, up there in sort of like the extreme northeast of Massachusetts. I haven't tried to get on it yet, but it's once a week and they switch back and forth where 1 week it's 6 meters and then the next week it's 2 meters. And I think they try different modes as well. So they'll try like FM, obviously, they'll try SSB, and then they'll also try, people that are using vertical antennas versus horizontal antennas for, the different polarizations. And then they'll have, different relay stations so that they can kind of try to pull people in from a wider area if they can't be heard by the direct net control. So that's really cool. They call that the Fishnet, and it's Thursdays at 7:00 in the evening, I want to say. So if you're in that sort of extreme northeast Massachusetts area, definitely check that out. And you can, check out the Facebook page Radioactive Cape Ann as well. That's where they sort of announce anything that has to do with the Fishnet.
Now, if you could do it from where you're at, dude, you would totally blow a lot of people out of the water.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: like, people have been getting 6-meter propagation across, across the Atlantic Ocean, right?
Yeah.
So, it's probably not out of the realm of possibility. It just depends on the time. Again, like we were saying, if it's 7:00 at night there, it's like midnight here. So, it's just that time frame that makes it more difficult.
Only if you had a time machine.
Right? So I either, I need a
Have an El Camino.
DeLorean, or I need like the Harry Potter, Hermione has the time turner.
Okay.
That's sort of, that's like the I guess the millennial equivalent of the time machine DeLorean.
All right.
Izzo, you got the mic working?
You tell me. Testing
Whoa.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow,
5,
it's
4,
like
3,
you jumped
2, 1.
into the 2000s. Awesome.
Yeah, he's in stereo.
Am I wrong? That's not a good thing. If you can hear me twice.
You're fine.
You're almost like the sultry sounds of Joe Brett, but Izzo style.
Nothing can be. Oh.
It's like Joe Brett, but Italian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where's my antipasti? Give me antipasti.
You know what the difference is? You know what the difference is? I talk with my hands.
Yes.
How you doing?
Listen,
Yeah.
that's not only an Italian thing, though, because I'm pretty sure Irish people do that also.
They just don't
Mostly
admit it.
all European
Yeah.
people talk with their hands.
That could get violent.
Yeah. So how you been, Izzo? We kind of were going around just sharing stories, kind of what we've been up to real quick.
Well,
before we dive
I
into
was
things.
chasing Matt was it you and Matt today on 20? Well, first you guys started off on 40 meters, I think, or 20 meters. Because my ham alert came up this morning, or was it yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Well,
I was only on today.
All right. All I know is, Matt, I heard you. You were you were in PA.
Yep.
And again, 20 meters from Connecticut to PA, it's just really not going to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could hear you. I had a low noise floor. I'm like, man, I would love to work you on 20-meter ground plane. Somebody came up in my ham alert yesterday. I thought it was Matt and Mike, or wasn't somebody on yesterday? Or no, Eric, you were on yesterday, right?
No, definitely not yesterday. It was like, no, it was definitely earlier in the week, if anything.
Okay. But anyway, so I went to 6 meters because 2 meters up here this morning around 10 o'clock was wide open. 2 meters was so wide open, it was crazy. I checked the propagation thing. 6 meters was, I had a couple local errands I had to run. I come back, threw on the HF rig there. 50.165 upper side band. Some guy in Florida was like how we're all talking right now. Beautiful. I went away. I went upstairs to go get a cold drink. Came back outside and he was gone. I would have loved to try to work this guy. So, but it was fun. It was fun to hear for the first time some nice 6 meter audio coming out of ICOM 7300. It was so.
Hey,
Tomorrow going out into the parks. So,
Roger wants to know what you're smoking is, though.
Roger, this is the Jaime. Here we go. This is the Jaime Garcia from
And
my
Martin.
father's.
In Biggin.
Oh,
Someone in
press the
Biggin them. Hang
All
on,
right.
hold
I
it.
was-
There you go.
There we go.
He's doing the labels authentic.
This is one of my favorite cigars. So,
Right.
anyway, what else is going on?
Going to Huntsville still?
No, my vacation time got canceled, so I am unable to attend.
Man, you are the only man that I know, like, your work controls all your vacation time. That's a bummer.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no,
Same way.
they normally don't, but for the last few years they've had to.
He's not the only-
I've had to do it. Well, I've gotten lucky at Christmas time because I don't. But they put in some blackout periods where you could not take personal time or vacation time. As of like December 1st, I think they stopped it for the whole month. Whatever was on the calendar was on. That's what it was, and you were either to work it or what. I might be going to Ham Exposition up in Marlboro.
Well, if you
So I
go,
didn't know
let me
if any-
know. You let me know.
Okay.
I'll go with you.
That's
Matt, you
going to
going
be a
this year or
lot.
no?
Matt, I was just saying, Matt gave a thumbs up. Matt, you're going, right?
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Will you have a table or are you just walking around?
Oh, I got tables.
Yeah,
Hey,
Matt doesn't
do we
go
want to
unless
tell
he's
them what
selling.
happened? Hey, Matt, do we want to tell them what happened or should just let it be a secret between you and me?
Oh no, you can tell. I found out where the other one went to. I told the guy.
Some other paying customer. Did he
Yeah, I
get
got
my
paid.
order? Did he get my order?
He got your order, brother.
Did I pay for it?
Oh no, I don't know. You got most of it. I mean, when we got the shirts, when I mailed you the shirt with the padding, that's what screwed it all up.
So, guys, let me tell you what happened. So the 64-1 antenna bug out is out from Matt. Okay, he's had the 56 out. I said, give me a 64. And by the way, I said, I lost some weight. Give me a shirt. I'll pay you some extra bucks, or I'll buy 2 antennas. I'll give one away for whatever. We'll work it out later. This is, as men, we'll work it out later. A couple days later, the package comes in. I'm all excited. I go to the park and I'm like, damn, this antenna is incredible. This is
that's the
awesome.
worst.
This and that is the 56-1. But that's okay. That's okay because it's still a Reliance antenna. So what does that tell you, right?
Right.
It's still a Reliance antenna. So
It'll
I
work.
told
It'll
Izzo to
work
give it
out.
away on Clubhouse or wherever he wants, and I'm sending him an actual 64-1. But I got a customer going, hey, I ordered the 56 to 1. I got the 64 to 1. I'm like, oh, Izzo's
Oh, that's
antenna.
tough one. Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Matter of fact, I've got some stuff here at my house. I think it's time. I have the 5-year rule. If I haven't used it, touched it, did something with it in 5 years, I think it's time to let it go. It's time to play Frozen. Let it go.
Is that
let
only
it go,
ham
get it.
radio equipment or family members too?
Family members, tools. No. Actually, tools I don't. Tools are like the stuff you see on a fire truck, right, Rabbit?
Some
if you
family
use
members
it
are
once,
tools.
well, some members, yes, they are. But Mike, you're absolutely right. They can be, but I think it's time for me to either go to Antennas Anonymous meetings, but
No, just keep
Is there
buying.
such a
You'll be all right.
thing? I didn't think there
Listen,
was.
Just keep
So
buying.
did you watch yesterday's Brew and Activate? Because Eric is all about like paring down your
I'm not paring
your
down.
Poda
Bring
bag.
in the field.
Was it Marie
Outflow.
Kwan? I always get this wrong. What's her
No,
last name?
Marie Kondo.
Kondo, whatever. You know, that crazy chick from wherever. It's all
this the
about
10
cutting things.
was this your 10? Was this your 10 a.m. stream?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Every Friday.
Yeah,
Brew and
I
Activate.
threw it on. And we got busy at work, and I never. All of a sudden, next thing I know, you guys were off. I'm like, "Cripes, I'll just go to Team
You'll-
Replay and watch it.
you'll have to
So,
watch it on Team Replay. But that was basically, we were talking
Apparently we're not
about,
that-
getting stuff out of your Poda bag that you're not using or whatever. And, I had said, is this like the clothing thing where you take all the clothes in your closet? Do you do this,
Closet.
Izzo? And
Yeah,
you turn
well-
you turn the hangers go in the wrong direction, so that then if you take it out and use it, the hanger is going the right direction. So then
no. Wait a minute. My wife will tell you.
that's-
My wife will tell you. I am very particular in my closet. Well, it's a shared closet. Okay. I have never had a walk-in closet in my life until we moved here. Never had a walk-in closet, and I love it. Okay. But here's the problem. I'm very, very organized when it comes to all of my ham radio t-shirts. First off, I fold my t-shirts a certain way. She hates how I fold them. It is
I
what it
hate
is.
them.
That's
All of
okay.
them do, but
the
anyway.
square fold like at a store.
I roll mine up
No,
and
she
stick it in the
does.
drawer.
She does that, and I actually like how she does it, but I don't do it. But what I do is all of my ham radio t-shirts where I have just something over here are like soldiers being stacked. So depending on what I'm wearing will determine what shirt or vice versa, right? Then I have my generics, and then I have my generics, which just get thrown, and I don't care. I don't care if they get wrinkled, but some stuff has to. Now my button downs all have to be on that hanger going one way. If the hanger is another way, that's bad luck. That's bad. That's like pumping
Was he
13
saying-
gallons of gas.
Generics or geriatrics? I couldn't tell.
Generics,
Well, the
generics.
whole
My
point-
Hearing's not getting well.
The whole point of doing it is so that you can visually see what you have worn in the past 6 months or year or whatever. Because like if you haven't worn it in a year, then you're supposed to get rid of it. You're extending that. You're like, you have a 5-year rule. So I mean,
But yeah, but Shannon though, but see, sometimes clothes can go more than 5 years because the more you wash them, the more comfortable they get. They get.
Well, and
they
you're a guy,
become
Izzo. There's a 10-year rule on most, 10-year moratorium on most T-shirts. So
Well, by
Yes,
the time you
yes.
wait 10
They live that
years,
long.
anything that's gone out of style comes back into style again, right?
Right.
Doesn't it?
Well, in 10
Exactly.
years, of course.
10-year cycle.
But like my Reliance, so like my brand new Reliance is that nice black T-shirt, and again I make sure it gets folded really nice. I bought a Salty Walt one; it gets folded really nice, and in the corner I could see when I stack them. And I have a rule, like I do it with Clubhouse, and I've been doing it here. I make sure I don't wear the same shirt again. To me, I feel like I don't know. I
Wow.
feel like. I don't know.
That's a commitment.
No, is it
I
an
really-
OCD? Is it an OCD? I don't.
Izzo, I've
me.
got you beat. All my T-shirts,
Wow.
all my shirts get hung up, and my T-shirts. Tracy laughed at me because they're all in color order.
I
So
buy
in
the
other
color in
words,
order,
blue-
like, and they're by shaded
do-
color. So like the blues
do you
have
do
all
it
of the
by
dark to white to
alphabetic?
blue. Yeah, I do the same
you
thing with
start
small
with-
like.
All right, but you guys start with like blue is for the B in the alphabet is in the beginning,
No.
and you work
No,
your way
you gotta
down.
do Roy
No.
G. Biv.
Roy G.
Mine
Biv.
looks like,
Yeah,
mine looks like a
RGB.
retarded
RGB.
rainbow.
No, mine looks like a retarded rainbow, but at least the dark shirts are, you know.
Care to
they-
tell me what that looks like?
Well, I
Yeah,
used to hang my
looking
T-shirts up, but what happens is on the hangers you get what I call the horns up in your shoulders, and I don't like that. So all my polos, not that I have a lot of polos, and not that I have like a lot of Hawaiian shirts, but like I have, but my quarter zips get hung. Matter of fact, my quarter zips don't go in the dryer. My quarter zips don't go in the dryer. Hoodies can go in the dryer because I like them warm and fluffy. I'm very it's OCD with me. I admit. Send me to the doctors. While we're in Antennas Anonymous, we're going to go to the next store of Clothing Anonymous and
Laundry
the
Anonymous.
idiosyncrasy. Laundry Anonymous, exactly.
Yeah.
You know when
okay.
you're getting old is when your girlfriend buys you a 50 and over bottle of vitamins.
or she buys you the pill box that says MTW. Hey, you want to hear
And then
something
she
crazy?
sets it up for you too.
Oh,
Yeah.
How did this?
All right,
we were going back to the '80s, weren't we, Mike? I thought.
Okay.
How did this turn into geriatric city?
You want to hear something crazy?
Are we on 80 meters right now?
Okay,
Everybody's
no,
gotta start talking
but you
about their-
want to hear
their
something?
ailments.
I swear to God, if I was a crazy man, you all would have heard me scream, including Shannon from across the pond. Okay, so when I dialed up 6 meters, I start at the bottom, 50.0, and I start working my. Obviously, I'm hearing some digital stuff. Who cares? Just go through, right? I stop at 50.165, and I kid you not, the one station that I was hearing, he was talking about his medical ailments. And I swear to God, I'm like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be 3.8, 3.9. I'm hearing, like I said,
bleeds
I'm like,
over.
this is my first QSO that I am hearing on 6 meters in a long, because my 6 meter stuff used to be, Crystal Jobs, Crystal Midlands pulled out of cop cars and, other public safety agencies. And this is a real ham radio rig. And my first thing is gotta be the medical conversation. I'm like, no, don't do this to me. But it was working. They were loud and clear.
Running a kilowatt, probably.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay,
well,
so-
you wanted to go back in time, Eric. So
All right,
let's
back in
well,
time.
I thought we were
bring us
already
back
there,
to
but at
when-
this point,
bring us back to when you were a technician, and
wow.
if you could, catch a ride in the back of the El Camino.
What
Back in
year,
time.
Eric? Give us the
90,
year. Give us the year.
92, 93, right when the no code tech came out.
Yeah.
That's when I got my ticket.
That's when I got
And
my
so for me and for all you youngins who are less than 5 years in licensed town, we ended up having to actually go to like 8-week license courses, on a Sunday at a church, in the upper room that like had no air movement and you'd sweat to death trying to understand, electronic theory and all of this other stuff.
The only thing to drink was the holy water.
Pretty much, yeah. and then after that, they would give you about you'd study for about an hour total of the technician, physical testing stuff, and learn that, and then they would then give another hour after that to learn the Morse code portion, because at that time I still had to learn it. And I was doomed from the start. I could never get Morse code, could never force myself to learn it, couldn't do the 5 words per minute if, needed to, save my life on it. And so it only was like kind of like out of the blue when the FCC released the, hey, we're going to do this no code technician thing, that I was like, oh my gosh, the eyes opened up and, things were like, oh, this is great. And so, I found a testing session like a month and a half later and then just studied and finally got my no code tech. But yeah, that was a long, long time and a long, long process, where now it's like, what, you take it on a weekend and, you get your test and you pass it.
That waiting period. Remember? Because I got mine
God.
summer of
Sick.
'89.
How long
Was
was
the same
yours?
thing.
2 weeks or something. God,
What's
that
that?
I was going to say I took mine on a Sunday.
Yep.
It
was
was a
a Sunday,
good.
yep.
It was like, yeah, because I took it in the library, in one of those community rooms, but in the basement area. But like you, took it on a Sunday morning. It wasn't until the following, like Tuesday, Wednesday, and everybody around me who already had their license. I had my radio installed in my truck. I had I have an older Kenwood, something 7350. It was some older vintage 80s model Kenwood. But they took the microphone out of the truck. They said you can listen,
Wow.
but you cannot transmit. Now these were my buddies, but in order for me to not break, which I told them I wouldn't happen, they said no. You just get the microphone out of there. So while we were having this argument, one of my buddies went into my truck and he pulled the microphone out. And of course he was bigger than me. He was like 6'5". I was like, 6'5", 6'8". He was hanging it in front of me. He says, "You're not getting this microphone until you come back with your envelope, from the SEC that shows you. Remember your paper copy."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. That like you had to fill it all up by hand with a pen. Like it was like there was no typing.
Yes.
There was not. Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
And you better do it neatly, because if you screw it up.
Yep. Yeah, it delays the process even worse. Like that was like I'm a lefty, and my handwriting, I used to get whacked by the nuns because my handwriting was so bad. And so with that, like I was like printing very slowly and made sure everything was on. But it still took me, I didn't get my ticket for like 4 months because the people had to like pile it into an envelope, pay the postage, drop it off at the post office, send it into the FCC, and like you wouldn't know from the moment after you passed the test over, after they told you passed it, how long that would be. It could be months. They could have delayed it. They could have just, the Elmer at the time, or the VE at the time probably was in his 70s, and he's like, "Oh, I'll get to the post office on Thursday," and finally it's like, "Oh, it mailed on Thursday. Okay, now I got another 6 months." So I think I got it like 6 months after, like
really. No,
6
I
months
literally
after.
got
Yeah, it was pretty
mine.
fast.
I got mine in like 12 days. I'll never forget. It was after Labor Day when I got it. It was like that Wednesday, Thursday. I walked into. I was working at the CB shop. I walked in there. And that morning, I showed them my license. They gave me the microphone. I went out. I plugged it in. I don't think I shut up. For probably about 3 or 4 days. I knew somewhere along the line I was probably being a lid. I got corrected. I got it corrected appropriately. Or what was the term? N2MAK. What was the term you guys were using on Jason's show?
Jackwagon?
About
Jaguar.
no, about how to correct somebody. Correct this. I forgot what it was called. It was some niche word that you guys were, but it was correct though. Okay. Some guys were very gentlemanlike. They said, "Hey," they said, "Izzo, come here. When you do this, do that, but don't do this and don't do that." And they were very good. Some guys in the beginning, man, you're afraid to pick up the microphone sometimes. But I got past it. But we did a lot on Simplex. That's why I am such an advocate to the 652 and all the other stuff, like what Rabbit was talking about. We did a lot of that stuff. Our Aries nets were always, I think, the first Monday of the month, and after the repeater net, we went over to Simplex. And it was cool.
We didn't do much Simplex, only because we were lucky where I kind of grew up in the town. The repeater was up on the highest point in all of the town area. So I could literally, once I finally got my HT, which there's a story behind that one and I won't get into it. It's just too long. But once I got my HT, no, I didn't. I had to burn a certain kitchen down, but that's a long story. With it, I ended up getting, like the FT 470, like that was like the first Yaesu dual band radio that came out. And I can't tell you, just like Izzo said, I probably pissed off a lot of the old timers on the on the repeater all the time. I'd be like, N1JUR listening, N1JUR talking, N1JUR monitoring, and then I would have a conversation with everybody, and I became the staple. But I'm sure I probably annoyed everybody that they'd be like, oh, N1JUR, I don't want to talk to him. I'll just wait until the afternoon traffic.
I bet you we forced guys to go to other bands and other modes.
Yeah, exactly.
But
we moved them to HF.
Yeah, but something though, I think we had fun because wasn't that what it was all about? Mm-hmm. And there was always that one ham who wanted to see how much you really knew. tell me about the resistor and this and that. And like, I don't freaking know what you're talking about. I hooked up my radio and I checked for SWR. No, it's VSWR. Okay, fine, VSWR.
Yeah.
Which I still say today. But again, some people really took it to heart. And I remember when I
Wow.
started playing,
Wow. The truth comes out. I knew that. I figured so. That's why I don't talk on All Star. It's all because of you, Dave. Sorry. Yeah.
Don SKT makes a good point. I never did it, but that foam patch was a
Dude, that was awesome.
it was wasn't it very trivial? It was a very trivial thing because it was almost like the days of monitoring the baby monitors and other things.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
some spouses would cuss and get when that guy pulled into that driveway, his spouse, his XYL was tearing him a new one for using the auto patch to say "Hi,
and
honey."
calling because she had no caller ID. She had no idea who it was. She was just picking up the phone, and he's like, "Hey, honey, I'm calling from the repeater." And at that point, you hear her voice go whoop, drop, and it's short answers. It's
She
quick.
picked up that princess. She picked up the princess phone, and they,
But the repeater patch was freaking awesome. Like, I didn't have a phone in the car at that time, and like once I got access of the secret code, it was like, oh, cool, I can call mom to say, I'm gonna be late. And so a teenager, you're like, hey, mom, I'm gonna be about an hour late from wherever I'm coming from. And of course, every ham I'd go into like the club meeting a couple days after. Hey, did you get in trouble with your mom? It was like, dude. It was good stuff, man. It was crazy.
we had this one guy. He was like I just thought of it. He was probably acting more like the Karen. Okay, of the modern day Karen, and he would dial up the auto patch. And the auto patch would go to because of where the repeater would get tied into the state police barracks of the beginnings of 911 of how it got routed. So they would answer, Troop F Westbrook, state your emergency. Blah 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 blah. My name is. I don't want to give out his name. I don't want to give out his call sign. I am amateur radio operator, blah, 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 blah. And I'm using the blah, 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 Killingworth repeater on 155, and I am calling in to call in, blah, 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 blah. And and I know, and now on the other end now for the last 25 years, you're like, guy, just get to the freaking point. What are you doing? Are you involved, or did you just witness it as a passerby? Get to the freaking point. And he was like, bah, 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 bah. It was just, so one day we recorded him, and it was kind of sad, but it was like, should we tell this guy? But shortly thereafter, we disabled the auto patch. But it was just amazing about the perception of the auto patch. Everyone that, through my traveling throughout the Northeast and New York State, and a little bit of Northern New Jersey, everyone ran their auto patch with different rules.
Yep.
So
You had to figure that out.
yeah,
Thank you for calling
either
Domino.
the right, listening or the hard way. Yeah.
But anybody who had an auto patch on a repeater, there were more listeners because they were just waiting for that one time that, some husband has a conversation with his wife and it's going to be a yelling match and he's going to have to figure out how to cut it short very fast.
So we
before,
got slick.
problems.
So we had a 220 repeater. And for about 2 years, we had the 220 repeater on the auto patch. I heard more on the 220 side, but it was a little bit more. I think they went home and said, listen, honey, this is 220 megahertz. There's not a lot of people listening. There's only probably about maybe 5 to 8 guys. The scanners at the time could not pick it up as well. Most scanners today can't. I think the XYLs were just a little bit more softer about it.
Maybe. Some of them had no clue.
Right.
They just had they would go on about their day and hey honey, I have to let you go because we're this is a toll call and so it's going to cost the club some money here, so let's
and one
let's-
last
let's-
thing.
I got
One-
banged on that hard.
Yeah, and one last thing for our club, to PL or not to PL was one of the most
Wow.
debated topics that really divided our club. It really we lost some people, It divided some people, even though some options were to help mentor. They didn't care. The 6 letter word called change really scares away some people. I've really found that out throughout my life. The auto patch was the second most, is it contentious, debated topic of why do we have to disable it? And obviously in the late 90s, cell phones were coming in. And then obviously, I mean, look where we are now today now, 35 years later, which, 30 years later with cell phones. I think everyone has the unlimited plan. It's not a selling point. It comes with it, so.
Free long distance.
Well, Izzo, I got a serious question for you though, since we're
Yes.
talking, we're trying to talk about going back or what we would do different or advice would we give. I'm sure that you're not the only one that has a new ham, had some experiences with some lids, jack wagons, whatever term you want to use. Some hams who are not as welcoming as we would have hoped for, newer hams and stuff. So, what experience? What advice would you give to newer hams to try to navigate some of that? Because I think we're all going to run into, whether it's just on the radio or locally, we're going to run into hams that aren't very welcoming, that always want to be smarter than you or think that whatever you're doing, you're not doing it right. Like, what advice are you going to give those new techs to try to navigate that?
One, we're all lids.
Yeah.
We're all newbies. Okay. Think of it like this. When we started walking, when we were a kid walks at 2 years old, maybe 18 months, 2 years, whatever we as humans start to learn how to walk, we fall down, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And we get up again. But one of the things I learned as a parent was not to make, oh my God, the baby fell. And you put this fear into the kids. And then what happens? Sometimes they're afraid to walk again. And that's one of the things that I learned, that and it's grow a thick skin, grow a set, but still be respectful. But every once in a while, you have to give it back. Just know when to give it back, the right place, the right time. Like, there was this one guy who was very stern with me, and I'm being very polite right now. And I didn't like it. And I took it, and I took it, and I took it. And finally one day at the club meeting, he tried to embarrass me at a club meeting publicly in the open forum. And I told him he was not correct. I didn't say he was wrong. I said, you're not correct. Your statements are not accurate. I was giving him what I thought was the benefit of the doubt. As the meeting was getting over, they're walking over to the table with the coffee pot and the donuts, and I whispered in his ear, and I said to him, you're an asshole. And here's why. Because I would never treat anybody like that. Family, friend, even my enemies, even the people who I really would never have over to my house and have a cigar, break bread, Thanksgiving, I still wouldn't treat them like that. And you must have had a real problem when you were growing up, either being bullied, intimidated, but you don't come to these club meetings and do it. A month later, we never saw him again. Oh, well,
right.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Yeah.
So I think it's really how we treat each other, because again, the books teach us about passing the test and the knowledge within that stuff, right? I think Gordon West when I was studying, I did a lot of the Gordon West stuff. He talks about a little bit from what I remember, but it's not till you get into your local community of hams that you learn, like, again, how to call, like throw out your call sign on a repeater versus calling CQ. Remember that show that you guys were talking about? And I think some people really have some deep rooted psychology problems. And I don't have the time for that. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. And I'm here in this hobby to have fun and learn. Okay. I think I'm very patient, but I want to treat people how I want people to treat me. So that's kind of a thing that I think we forget. But there's always going to be the bully. There's always going to be the bully, and there's a couple ways of standing up to the bully. And I like the more direct approach. I don't get in their face. I just whisper very quietly in their ears, and I choose the right words. Again, that works for me. That works for me. And I heard later, a couple years later, the guy passed away. I felt bad for maybe about a second. I'm like, estate sale. Yeah, you know, you know. But this is a hobby. This is a hobby. This is. I don't want to get into this debate here of what is this a service? Is this a? I'm not going to go down that road. But this is a hobby, and this is for fun and learning. Just don't kill yourself doing it. Have fun. Find out. And one other quick thing that I have noticed when the digital mode started coming out, DMR, D Star, guys were running and buying these radios without really learning the new ham, especially the new ham, because they were getting all involved with the whole marketing, and they really weren't figuring out what's in their immediate community. Like for instance, I'm blessed. We have a very intense DMR system here in Connecticut.
Mhm.
Intense D Star. Okay, if you want to play on one of those modes, in addition to the analog repeaters and simplex, it's out there. But we all know in some communities it's just not there. So don't buy that radio. Don't get frustrated. All your hard-earned money. That's another thing. Don't jump quick because it's that shiny thing that
Do
yeah.
your research.
Do your research. Tortoise is right. Do your
Go on
research.
to
Right.
go on to repeaterbook.com and see what's in your area.
That's
The
one
best
way
way
of
to
doing it
look.
too. And
I mean,
yeah,
it's easy. You just type in the state, and then look at where you're at and what modes and stuff people are operating on.
Well, funny thing is, I think where like we lose the connection is like a lot of the clubs that do the VE testing, they do a shit ass job of actually like encouraging and including the people that have passed to like come to the club and like actually like have conversation with them and talk to them and say, hey, what are you going to do next? What's the big plans, that kind of thing. They just like they do their VE stuff and then they let the person walk out the door, and it's like you get this nice little email saying, here's a free membership to the club. It's like, as a ham, I'm like, dude, that's like the worst thing you could do to somebody like getting into the hobby. It's like, oh, well, go do your own thing. See you later. I mean,
that's an awesome idea. Don't give me a Baofeng. How about next week? We talk and it's going to be more. And this time, it's not going to be the intensity of, here's the material, and here you got to pass it, and you're going to do it. And some people are not going to do it. Okay, some people are not going. But the guys who do it, I love that, Eric. That's an awesome idea. Of now you can relax and breathe, and let's show you what's in this area, in this maybe 30 to 50 mile square of what's going on.
mm-hmm.
I like that.
It reminds me a little bit of like, being a salesperson, I guess, and doing like lifestyle questions with, your customers or whatever when they come in and you're trying to figure out like what is the best product to fit with them. You sort of have to do the same thing when you are talking to somebody after they've just passed their ham radio test and be like, okay, well, what brought you into the hobby? What are you hoping to accomplish? Do you want to have a huge base station with a tower and a beam and an amplifier and all this stuff? Or do you want to do portable? Or, do you want to mostly do just local communications? Do you mostly want to do HF? So, yeah, I definitely think that we as VEs, and probably not us because we're probably preaching to the choir, but when you're a VE, you're not just there to like watch the person take the test and make sure that they're not cheating and they pass and you sign off on the paper. You are the ambassador. You are possibly the first ham radio operator that these people are meeting. So you only have one chance to make a good first impression. So you want that first impression to be sort of like warm, welcoming, showing them that community spirit, helping them achieve their goals that they want to reach in ham radio, and pointing them in directions of like where they can get more information too, right? Like especially if we're doing online VE sessions, which a lot of us do. I know I do for Ham Radio Crash Course. So I'm getting people that are, anywhere in the United States and sometimes anywhere in the world, because anybody can get a US ham radio license. It doesn't have to be just somebody that lives in the US, but recommending that people seek out their local clubs, kind of like how Tortoise was saying, go on Repeater Book and see what repeaters are in your area and what modes there are, because that could determine if you're going to get a Yaesu or an ICOM or a Kenwood, depending on.
You know what, Shannon? At one time, there was this one club a long, long time ago. I walked in there. I was coming out of work. I was traveling in the area, stopped in. They were very, if you didn't have the beam, the tower up at 30 to 30 plus feet, the 10 through 20 Yagi, maybe an amplifier, you were not going to make contacts. Mm-hmm. We here, and again, we're probably preaching to the choir, get yourself a Reliance antenna, throw it up in the mast, don't worry about it, lean it up against a tree in 10
Use
minutes,
M1J
right?
or our code for 10% off. Sorry, nobody else stepped
and you're
up.
going to make Or if you W1FYG, you'll get someone else's order. But anyway, it's and I really like how it has shifted, Shannon, because that was the stigma for the longest time. And because of POTA and SOTA and many other things, Winter Field Day and the Support Your Parks weekends, and just going out and operating now, ham sticks and putting them in, run them on a mag mount, run them horizontal, whatever. I think, Shannon, we can now promote. Because I remember I walked in, and after about 20 minutes, I'm like, this is nice guys, don't get me wrong, but this is not my party. I live in a condo. I do all my mobile stuff. Matter of fact, I was basically 10 and 11 meter mobile. That's all I was. My Camaro was, outfitted for VHF, UHF. That's all I knew and cared about at the time. But it's amazing. So maybe now like Shannon, like what you're saying, as groups can promote, it's not always about the big antenna and the big tower to make signals. Yeah, for that armchair copy, that's cool. Look at the digital people coming in now. I'll bet you there's a vast amount of guys playing on FT8 who don't pick up a microphone or hit a paddle.
Oh yeah,
dude, all
I'm sure.
the Odas took it all over. I mean, once Oda, anything on the air kind of rolled in, it changed the whole dynamic of ham radio. Like nobody has to have a shack now.
I want to actually real
everybody
quick.
needs an inflate antenna.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rabbit loves his. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
he loves it when he gets it up. He loves it when he gets it up, doesn't he?
He loves his antenna, but you don't want to love your antenna.
I want to be mindful of
Rabbit.
Shannon, since Shannon's
Yes, Shannon,
5
go.
hours ahead. Since
Oh yes.
Shannon's in the future. And I do want to hear from her, because I think she's going to bring an interesting perspective. Like going back to when you first got technician, if you could go back, like what would you change, or what would you tell your old self, to better prepare you for the hobby?
Well, the thing is, right, is that I was actually never just a technician, because I went straight to general. I did study for both technician and general at the same time. So that's
right.
probably, that is like one bit of advice that I would probably give, a new technician, I guess, or somebody who's like thinking of taking the technician test, is to just, try to study for the technician and the general at the same time. Or, if you're not into just memorizing the answers to the questions and actually learning the content, keep studying very quickly, because, really a lot of the fun does start on, in the general portion of the bands, with, being able to get on HF and, being able to kind of talk to people and make those further contacts. But, yeah, I think just, don't be afraid. Try not to have mic fright, because it's, it's going to get easier the more you do it, right? So it's like the more you hold yourself back and you just keep being afraid, it's just that fear is just going to get bigger and bigger. It's never going to go away unless you actually just talk on the radio. So, you just have to find your people, right? Like not every repeater is going to be for you, right?
Yeah.
Like and it's kind of sad to say, but like we all probably know that repeater, and every area probably has that repeater where there's the people that maybe aren't so welcoming, or like, I don't know, use bad language or something, which they're not supposed to do. But I know that happens. Like I've heard there's a repeater like that in somewhere around LA. I'm not entirely sure. But I know there's a repeater that is like that is within my realm of like transmission. And I actually had somebody else approach me on HRCC that was from the same or similar area, and they were like, oh, I tried to talk on this repeater and the people were really rude. And I was like, oh, was it such and such repeater? And they were like, yeah, actually I think it was. So I was like, yeah, I experienced
Mm.
a similar situation where somebody had made a comment that was sort of like offhand about oh, I gotta get home, I gotta get off these roads before the stupid parents come out to pick up their kids from school. And I picked up the mic and I was like, hey, this is KC1OHT, and I just want to let you know that I'm one of those stupid parents right now on my way
I
to go
love
pick
it.
my kid up from school. And I really don't appreciate your attitude on the radio. There's people, in all different areas of life that use ham radio, and that just really like puts people off from ever wanting to talk on here. So, and I haven't gone on that repeater since. And I stick to my repeater formerly known as N1HSY. Now it's like W1VYI in Topsfield, New Hampshire, where we have our 2-meter PokeNet every day at 0830 hours. And it's, a lot of the same guys that meet up, and we just have our little morning rag chew round table and talk about what we're having for breakfast, or what we did in ham radio the previous day, or some topic always ends up just coming up organically. And it's such an amazing group of people, and we all we watch out for each other. And so you gotta find your flock, as someone here said. Jason Lockwood,
You're absolutely right.
7395.
That's it. That is it, Shannon. You got to find your flock. You got to
Can we
find
not
it.
say that term because that's the surveillance system that the government
Oh.
uses, but whatever.
Oh, we're gonna
Or
get
is it-
demonetized.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Find your herd.
But anyway, that's my
Find your
2
herd.
pence. Take it for what it's
Herd.
worth.
Yeah, no, I think you raised some interesting and some really valid points. One, which now that you say it, I know you've said it before and I've heard it from others, and I don't know if there's books out there for this, but this is clearly something that's an opportunity, is for somebody to create like a book and a course that's geared towards somebody studying for both the tech and the general at the same time, and kind of preparing for both. Because of how similarly those are, and then the extra exam is way out there. But I being a pandemic ham, I did everything on my own for my tests. I was doing audiobooks, and I was kind of in my own bubble. It was during COVID. I don't know how much the material that's out there, or the courses that even like my club does, talk about what to expect on the repeaters locally. And I think that that's probably something going forward as Elmers, we should all for newer hams make sure we're sensitive to, and letting others know, like, oh hey, here are the good repeaters to get on as a new ham. I got lucky. My first contact on a repeater was one of the best hams that you could interact with, and he was so encouraging and everything. and I got lucky because that could have been the exact opposite interaction. But I think that that's probably something we should do, is make sure that we're focusing on letting these newer hams or those that are even studying for their techs know, because I don't think that that's covered. That's not an exam question. Is like.
No.
They don't even tell you, and the materials. Don't call CQ on on a repeater.
They used
or
to.
You're
No,
gonna
they
trigger
used to.
somebody.
They
But,
used to.
Did they used to? Okay.
Yeah.
But still, like, just knowing that you can. There's going to be good ones. There's going to be bad ones, and understanding some of this stuff. I think that that's important and something that we should be conscious of. And
Yeah, but Mike, I got to tell you something. While you're 100% right, the human side of this hobby, again, I'm in it for the fun.
yeah,
Another ham is in it for the competition. 13 colonies really got me aggravated. And I will always support 13 colonies, participation, monetary wise. But for some reason, I think I found and I'm going to call them lids. Or jack wagons or whatever terminology you wanted. They were mean. They were disruptive. These are guys and gals volunteering their time to be, the net control or to be the activator for a state. And the hams were and some of these guys I know had to be older than me. So at what level of the learning curve that do we have to start bitch slapping some people to say, knock it off? He didn't call you. Wait, he didn't say QR. Can you at least just give some common courtesy? Do you drive your vehicle the same way when you get to that 4-way stop sign and you say, screw it, I'm going first and I don't care? When you go to the grocery store, Walmart, Costco, and you got that shopping cart, are you that mean bastard who just, I don't care? I don't let it bother me. I like my way of getting over it is just by talking about it here and laughing about it. But there are some people who I think shy away from that, and that's sad. That's not what we want. We don't want those people to shy away. Yes, they're still going to be there, and that's why sometimes, maybe as an activator, just take their call sign and just get them out of there. Just get them out of the just go.
Yeah. I've said that before too, right? Like, and yes, 13 colonies. It's one of my favorite ham radio events. I didn't really get to participate this much, this year because of where I am. But it was like the first ham radio event that I ever found, and I participated in it every year. And like last year, I was an activator for K2H, and I heard other people saying like that they didn't want to be an activator for 13 colonies because people are so rude about it and they like take it so seriously. And if you look on like DX Summit, the comments that people make when they're like not even actually spotting the channel, but they're just complaining about, for example, that GB13 colonies wasn't on enough bands, or wasn't on SSB, or wasn't on CW, or wasn't on FT4 or FT8, or whatever it is that they want to like complain about, or they weren't on 12 or I guess they could be on 12 meters because it's not a contest, it's an event, so you can go on the work bands. But yeah, it's like it's a piece of paper, people, and it's supposed to be fun. Why do you have to take it so seriously and to such an extreme? I just, I just don't understand some people.
You clearly don't get it. The paper gives my life meaning.
Well, maybe for some people, maybe that they, their only self-worth is in how much ham radio wallpaper they have on their walls.
I do. From a psychological point, I think they do. I think so. When people walk into their shacks, the few, look at what I have on my wall. I don't care. It's like my doctor. I don't care whether your listen. If my heart doctor got his accreditation through some online course, I don't give a shit. As long as he fixes me and does it right, I don't care. I don't care. Or should I care? Well, maybe that's a bad example.
let me ask the question. We're kind of blanket statement, and I don't know if this is where we want to go because this is not really the topic. But like, I've had experiences on all levels. Like, what age group are you guys talking about? Like, are they the 70+ group? Are they the 60+ group? Like what? Like,
I
because
don't think it matters. A lid's a
it,
lid.
it does.
Yeah.
No, it does because like I found that there, in my experience, at least with some of my people in my club and having this type of conversation, because there are a few that have been like they're like to the letter of the law, and like you violated said letter of the law, and you got ripped a new one on the repeater kind of thing in a polite fashion in their mind. I've always said, okay, yeah, the attack was wrong. You shouldn't have done that to a new ham. But my next step is always like, I'm gonna go find that person personally and inquire what the heck is going on, dude. Like, why did you do that? Like, what was the driving force behind it? And a lot of times they were like, well, I was just trying to help them along the way. And I'm like, well, dude, your approach really like totally soured that person out. I know when I was listening, you ruined whatever possibility of him getting back on or her getting back on the repeater a second time.
Yeah.
Because you've already told them, they're doing it wrong. And when I had that conversation with 3 or 4 of those people, I mean, granted, it does not always home run every time. I've had 1 or 2 been like, well, that's just the way it goes. That's the rule. I'm like, well, okay, dude, you're a lot older and I get where you came from, but you still can't behave like that. You're driving people away from the hobby.
That sounds like a generational thing. I mean,
It very much. It is. It is.
I see
very
that
much
in
so.
the fire service. The boomers gatekeep very well, and they are
Ham radio
very
hobby is
set.
no different.
Yeah, they're very set in their way, and I see this in amateur radio too. This is why I'm not a member of a club anywhere. It's that you will follow the letter of the law, and if it's not the way they've done it for years past, they don't want you, and they're not going to let up anything that they know. They expect you to figure it out.
Well,
the same way
it's
they
fear
figured
and
it out.
unknown.
Yeah, but Rabbit, but what happens when that group says, "Hey, we're having a field day and we need some people to help us set
Nobody
up
shows
and
up. Nobody shows up.
right, or as well as tear down." Hello, you just pissed off how many people, your potential people, to have fun and learn.
And then we have the same conversation we have in the fire service as we do amateur radios. Well, how do we get all the younger generation in? Well, it's because you already left a negative taste, and it's more about retention than it is recruitment. Because if you treat your people well, the recruitment takes care of itself.
I could say tortoise. Sorry, rabbit. It takes about 80% of. Yeah, he's not here. Where did he go?
I
He's
don't
like
know.
He's like 3 hours behind us. He should have no problem keeping up.
Yeah, he was having some issues with heat exhaustion.
Oh, so was he? Doesn't he have AC? Like he's in Arizona.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Humidity,
like
though.
as being in a club today, like I've been in with a club for 5 years, and about 80% of the stuff I do as a club leader is dealing with those older generations with the attitude of like, well, hey, we kept this club alive because we did X. Well, okay, well, if you're in one hand saying exactly what you were saying, how do we bring younger people in? How do we get the 30-somethings to step up, to take up the reins? You're not helping it by being the instigator of driving them away. Like, so you have to
And guys, don't get me wrong. I am all about legacy.
Sure.
But there's that fine line. Am I right? There is about ethics, legacy, and there's a certain line of what is the right way of doing it. And that could be subjective depending on the topic. But some people have just got to loosen the belt and just lighten up. Listen, I'm 62 years old, and I have always felt I will never be that crotchety old guy. I will never be that way. I don't want to be that way. And I rather just take somebody, like you said, it's all in the approach. Take them offline. As well, both sides. Yeah. Dude, why did you tear ass on that guy or that lady the way you acted? And then on the other hand, go back to the other person. Hey, listen, listen, they're having a bad day. They didn't take their freaking Metamucil or whatever is going on in their life. No excuse. But tell you what, though, I care about you, and I want you to back on that repeater. I want you to come to that club meeting. I want you to come to this operating event. I want you there, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people do. Don't let that one or that two ruin. Don't. I think we need to be more vocal with that.
Yeah, I got a quick story with some good lessons in it, and and it'll tie back to you, Izzo, in a minute. Just bear with me.
Don't tie me
Everything
up. Don't
six
tie
ways
me up.
to Izzo.
I'll try
Don't
not to,
tie me up.
I'll try not to time out the repeater here. So
You got 3 minutes. Go.
my buddy Jeff in the chat, KE2ELI, he recently started what we're calling the newbie net locally, and the focus is to try and have this be a net that's very welcoming and conducive for new ham radio operators, old or young. Age doesn't matter. And, as you can imagine, there's not a lot of new ham radio operators, so it tends to be, a lot of the old guard. But nonetheless, he has a question for each of the nets. And one of the recent ones he asked, for the older operators, he was like, what's a mistake that you made, early on? And so a mistake that I made that I talked about, and I might have even touched on this. I can't remember if I talked about this on the Ham Radio 2.0 live stream or not recently, but I went out after my son Ben got his technician, and we were out, and I misunderstood how it worked with my privileges and his privileges, and I thought as long as I'm right there, he could be operating on HF as a tech using his own call sign, not mine. I made a mistake. And so we're out for POTA, and and we worked a couple local people. I don't know if we were on 20 or 40, it doesn't matter, but I get an email from one of my Elmers, and he's like, by the way, very nice.
Or just so you know,
didn't call me out on the air. Worked us, and now you look back with 20/20 hindsight, and that's why I was like, oh, Ben, I wasn't expecting you. And so it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Didn't call me out, didn't dress me down or anything. It just very, hey, by the way, that's not how it works.
that's a term, Jimmy, Mike. That's a term. Dress me down. That's a term.
Yeah, and that's, and so we went back and forth. I was like, oh, this is how I thought it works, and nope. And again, I would only been a ham for a couple months, and I was still kind of new in POTA. The good thing about that is that encouraged Ben, and I was like, hey, sorry, bud, you can't play radio with Dad until you take that next test,
Nice.
kind of deal. And and he did, and he passed his test, and the same ham, that reached out to us after, who happens to be the mapping coordinator for POTA for New York State, and is in my club and everything. He's like, hey, I'm going to the, this Ham Fest this weekend, and there's a new park that was just added. I'm going to go there. And, we went to the Ham Fest, and Ben and I went with him, and the three of us activated a new park right after. We worked Izzo, and, I was still a new ham then, as was Ben. And I remember I was like, oh my gosh, that's Izzo from Clubhouse, and
And your son sounded a hell of a lot better than you.
yeah,
just so you know.
and so like,
Wow.
and
Wow.
Izzo
I'm
sent him
only
the
kidding, I'm
QSL
only-
card. When I was emptying Ben's backpack out, like, from school, like he was carrying like Izzo's QSL card in his backpack for like a while. I mean, but at the end of the day, like it all comes down to these two things. I want to point out, like, one, somebody like Jeff taking the initiative to create a net that's welcoming and focuses on new ham radio operators.
I like that idea. I love
that's
that.
good. And we should appreciate that. And it's you can check in via Echo Link and other things too, because you might not even have a ham radio like right after you get that your ticket. But then the other thing is like how you call people out, and how you approach people when they're making mistakes, and to do it in a way that is constructive and and welcoming. You had
Catch
not
you later, Matt.
Yeah, I gotta
See you,
go,
bud.
guys.
Aw.
Yep. Take care,
All
man.
right, 7-3, Matt.
7-3, y'all.
Bye, Matt.
Are you
Adios,
going to the
Matt.
post office? Are you going to the post office right now to
We're
ship my
closed.
antenna?
I'll
You're
ship it on Monday.
I'm only kidding.
7-3,
Thanks, brother.
guys. Have a good weekend.
You too, Matt.
Thank you, brother.
So what are the odds you get the right antenna? 56 to 1?
I wanted 64 to 1.
64 to 1.
No, I'm just playing. So,
But Mike, you're
yeah.
right. Mike, you're right though. What is, and then we're going to get in. You know, someone's going to start challenging you. Who are you to tell me? For Christ's sakes, people, this is I go back to this is a hobby of fun, and I mean, I've seen POTA get a little competitive. I browse more of the Facebook POTA group now, and it's a light browse compared to. Listen, I like it when someone accomplishes something that's good for you. You get a thumbs up from me. You tried something new, you get the thumbs up from me. But when it's just, I don't know, is it as we are as a society now? And again, are the new chess players and the new chess and the people who do bird watching and the canoeing and the kayakers and the new boaters, are those groups going through the same thing that we are going through?
100%.
There's a lot of crabs out there.
Why did you take
the old,
buoy on the left, or is it left buoy red and right buoy? I don't know what the buoy markers are and how you're supposed to proceed. But
Red
are they
to
yelling
red,
at them
better
too?
off dead, something like that.
Yes. Are they doing the same thing? Rabbit, I'm sure it was the same thing. The first time somebody pulled that ladder truck, why did you pull it in that way? And why did you turn it? Or this is the marker in the firehouse that you should look at to make sure that the back end is like. It's all how you say it, though, right?
My captain at work just got his captain's license for waterman doing crab potting. And he said it's the same way on the water with how people treat newcomers. I feel like it's any hobby, right? Any hobby or profession. You're going to have those group of people who feel, threatened, with the newcomers coming in, and they just lack the social skills on how to treat new people.
So that they overcompensate by being, and I'll be kind here, authoritative or verse. Because I can say the 4-letter word, but we have a lady here. We have ladies in the chat. But don't be that Delta India Charlie Kilo. Don't do that. Don't do that.
The famous phrase of, well, this is how we've done it for the past 20 years.
Oh, please don't tell me that. Charleston 6. That's all I'll tell you. Charleston 6.
Yeah, but they've always been told that themselves, so they're just passing on the same slack to the game.
So I'm gonna leave you guys with this because I am also gonna bow out because it's like 12:45 in the morning here. But just because.
Oh wait, hold on. Andy Colley just texted me. He said you're a lightweight. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. You're a lightweight.
But,
no, Andy Colley's here at 4:00 in the morning for crying out loud.
I know. I'm sorry.
No.
She is a New Englander by heart. There.
No. I should not be doing. See, I just became a hypocrite.
You became a lid.
I was just. I was yelling at her for something that we all do, but she should know that not to do. You don't bow out now.
You're doing exactly what the old timers do in the club. There, you're basically saying you're a YouTuber. You should be able to handle this out till like 4 a.m, no problem.
I'm a hypocrite. I'm sorry.
This is
I'm
the
a
way
hypocrite.
we've always done it on YouTube.
Exactly
really,
right.
Shannon.
But I gotta have time to have like my before bed tea and crumpets.
Well, you're now into having it for breakfast at this point, but
yeah, exactly. So just because you've done something for like 20 years doesn't mean that you have to keep doing it that way, because there's this old anecdote about like the mom is making the Sunday roast and she like cuts the end off the Sunday roast, and she's like, I don't know, that's because that's the way my grandmother always did it, so that's the way I'm gonna do it. And like, come to find out, like, the reason why the grandmother did that is just because it didn't fit in the pan. But we have bigger pans now, so there was no reason to cut the end off on the roast. But and rules change too, right? Like protocols change, so a lot of times maybe this old guard, they're not keeping up with the way things are now. Like somebody had said, even in some Facebook post or something, I can't remember what it was, but they were saying like, oh, in the UK, can't they only use 400 watts is their limit? And I was like, no, they can use 1,000 watts. But I think that is something that just sort of recently changed. So that's the thing, right? Like, you kind of have to keep up with like the way that things change. And also, like we were talking about, somebody made a comment about there's no statute of limitations on like violating FCC rules. But it's like, okay, so if somebody calls CQ on a repeater, is that an FCC rule? No, it's like sort of one of those gentleman agreements things that like you just don't do. So is like a baby bird gonna die every time somebody calls CQ on the repeater? No, it's not a life and death situation. It's just, somebody did that. They didn't know that that's like not really something that you have to do. You don't have to say CQ. You can just say, M0OHT listening, looking for
It's
any
a
stations to
courtesy.
come back. Yeah, it's like, and so they, when you're correcting somebody, just have common courtesy back. So, someone else had said something about like lead with kindness. So yeah, the world needs more kindness. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little
Now I got
of.
that song in my. Now I got that song in my head.
But
No, you're
anyway,
right. You're absolutely right. You're right.
But with that, I am gonna head out, guys. So I can, do my little nighttime routine before bed, and hopefully go to bed before the sun comes up here, because the sun comes up really early here. When you are like 10 degrees higher in latitude, it makes a huge difference. The sun like stays up a lot later. The sun doesn't set here until like at least 9:20, I think. Maybe 9:15 now, because it might have gone back a couple minutes. When we first got here, the sun was setting at like 9:33, which was like, I can't get Miles to go to bed because it's like, Mom, it's still daytime. I'm like, child, I need a break. You need to go to bed.
Well, cheerio. Good day.
Yes.
Team Carpets.
Yep. Pip pip, cheerio. Have a good night, everybody. And maybe by the next Northeast Ham Radio, I might be back in America.
America.
Depends on when it is.
America.
Yep. Well, good to see you from over the pond. Good to see
All
they
right.
get
Good to
good
see you.
internet.
Good night, everybody.
7-3.
Later. 737.
733388. Love you all.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I don't know where this went. I mean, we were supposed to go back in time, but I don't know if this back in time.
Well, no, but
kind of
history is
direction, but-
repeating itself because, again, again, you guys know I'm blessed. My grandfather was the old guy, but he was sort of hip in his own little way. He didn't get hung up when sideband came around in the late 60s, I think it was, early
Yeah, took
70s.
Spark Gap away from him.
Yes. And I mean, even though he was a CW man, true. But and then I remember when he bought his first HT. He was cool about it. He didn't use it a lot, but he wasn't defiant about it. He wasn't mean about it. If he was mean to us kids, or me when he was teaching me how to solder PL259s on. That's your 100th or your 120th, and how come you didn't do it this way how I taught you? But it was just him, and other groups were just very different. But I remember being around certain people, and I just said, I'm never going to be that way. Just like with certain parenting things with my kids, I am a totally different how I was raised, and I don't want to turn this into a therapy show, but there were certain things that I did not like that went down in my house. It wasn't mean, it wasn't criminal related. It was just some things I just said, when I become a parent, I'm going to be a different type. And I always remember that in my head when I have to handle a situation with my kids. Now, how do I want to be? Do I want to hold myself true to those words, as well as within this hobby? Even within this hobby, it's the same thing. I love talking to new people. I just, I'll tell them, just try. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just don't kill yourself. Don't fall out of a tree. Don't electrocute yourself, and everything's going to be okay. Like with Mike, what Mike did, I'm not going to be the guy who says, "Hey, Mike, you should have known. You should have told your son. You should have told your son. I'm operating N2 MAK. That's my dad, and he's sitting right next to me."
Yeah.
I'm not going to be that guy to tell him. That's for Mike and his son to have that discussion in their privacy of their own home, and I respect it. And however he's going to handle it, you handle it. If he keeps doing it, that's the issue. If he continues to do when he knows better.
Yeah. And,
Like somebody pointed out too. Hold on, Mike.
ahead.
Somebody pointed out. I think it was KE2 LEI pointed out the FCCs are not. They're not laws. They're not laws. But I think we have an obligation and responsibility to adhere to them because that's what allows you to get your license. What you do with it is
Got a
subject
point
to
on that
what you
one.
want.
But Mike, go ahead.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, James, our good buddy James Quirky QRP, had a good comment earlier on. I don't think I started, and I'm not going to go search back for it. But he, to paraphrase, he basically said, like I tell people to focus on memorizing everything to pass the exams and then worry about learning later. And that's kind of like how a lot of people look at this is, getting your license. It's a license to be a lifelong learner in this hobby. And I think a lot of people go into the exams and just worrying about getting passing, and that's good. And I've learned far more, and just by getting on the air, by building antennas, by trying different things. And along the way, I have made a ton of mistakes. Maybe some of them were illegal, maybe some of them weren't,
Sure.
but at the end of the day, like that's how one of the best, teachers out there is failure and mistakes if you're willing to embrace that. And some people look at that as whether it's a sign of weakness, a sign of incompetence, or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, going out, making mistakes, whether it's because you're just trying to RF around and find out, or you generally make a mistake, you forget to bring your battery, or, you accidentally are operating out of band in your privileges or whatever. Those are all ways to learn, and that's a good thing.
I tell you a story.
Because we're not perfect.
Can I tell you a story? Kind of bring it back to what the show
Yeah,
is
yeah.
about. I was blessed of being given a couple various radios. So I got licensed, I told you, in the summer of 1989. I was given a Kenwood TS 120, I think it was. Yeah, the 120. And I knew I could only operate on 10 meters, basically, with it. The other bands were for listening only, for sideband. The old man took that away because he was going to do something else with it. He gave me another HF rig.
Mm-hmm.
I bought my first radio that I bought, my own money, was an HR 20 Unit N HR 2510. And I got excited. Because it was my first radio, HF radio. The other one was the Kenwood I told you earlier. So it was amazing how some hams were so supportive. Go Izzo, and now you can build a dipole. You can buy the Moxon for 10 and this and that. I forget the famous. The company changed its names. I had a Vertical. I had a
Cushcraft?
Vertical.
Cushcraft?
No. It was a Vertical for 10 meter. You could use it for 10, 11. It had the tuning rings. If you said the name, I'm having a brain fart being old. Anyway, some hams in my local area were so supportive. They bought one too. They had the Radio Shack model, and other hams were like, "Oh, there you go. They're only going to
Antron.
use it for."
Antron?
Yeah, no. Yes, the Antron 99. Yes, it was.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Hillbilly.
Okay.
Thank you,
Hillbilly
Hillbilly.
Ham the rescue.
And that's a great Vertical. That's still a great. It just changed. It just changed its name now. But anyway,
Yeah, the A90, the SolarCon A99. Yeah.
SolarCon, correct.
Yeah.
But it was I distinctly remember some hams were so supportive. Hey, when you get your Antron 99, add the ground plane kit. Try this. Play with the rings. This and that. What time of the day? I remember I was on third shift. Run home. You can work. DX in the morning, in the afternoon. Go to sleep for a couple hours. Whatever you got to do. Get up in the late afternoon. And you can work. The southern part of the United States. You can work into the Caribbean. And they were very, very helpful and mentoring and loving way. Others were just so that Debbie Downer of, oh my God, they're going to lose. It's going to be there. He's replacing his Cobra 29 now with it. You know what I mean? It was just that, but they were serious about it. It wasn't that gut punching, have fun kind of stuff. They were serious and very opinionated. And again, but I didn't let that turn me away. But again, I know a lot of guys who were, they're buying stuff, and all of a sudden, 3-5 years later, there it is at the, in the flea market. And, it's sad when that happens. It's sad when it goes to the estate sale, stuff like that.
It's funny you're talking about the A99 because I was just at a Hamfest like a week or two ago, and somebody was selling. They had one with the ground plane kit, and it looked like, it was all packaged up in the box and looked good. And
with the manual,
they're selling
with the manual.
Yeah,
that's the bonus. That's the bonus right there.
I'd love to hear from you guys. On the stream or in the chat, they were selling it. A99 with the ground plane kit for $150, and it didn't sell. It got boxed up. It got put back in the car, and the guy left. I went out and saw. I was like, ooh, that actually might be a good deal with the ground plane kit. And I'm thinking like, ooh, I got some CB radios now. I got some 10-meter radios. Like this could be fun. And
ham sticks were like that for me, and that when I first started in the hobby, and they were the only price point you could afford, kind of getting in with a low budget. And then
that's right.
When I got back in, I was like, I had them, and I'm like, I remember how much of a pain in the ass they were, like just to get them to tune and deal with the ground planes. And I quickly just moved them out of my life as fast as I could.
Did you guys have the stigma of the G5 RV in my area?
No, I had a lot of hams who had
okay,
one.
so Louis Varney, G5 RV developed this dipole antenna. You could use it with ladder line. You could use it with 300 ohm. There was variations of it. It was always being marketed as a great antenna. Well, it was an incredible antenna for 20 meters for what it was, but you can use it on the other bands.
Yeah.
But some hams, like I said, were, oh, wait a minute, stop everything, stop the presses.
He has his extra now, right?
Cute kids and dogs will always take over the stream. We know that.
So when all the lids want to get upset, remember, this is the future generation of amateur radio.
Oh, you gotta stick it hard to them.
Yeah.
See, so you're pulling the wife card. You're just like bringing babies into club meetings now.
Yeah, trying to get some script out.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember what I was using for antennas. I mean, I had the old.
Eric, real quickly, the G5 RV, it was the same thing as that whole Uniden group or whatever. That's not a great antenna. Why? It's getting me on the air. I had just gotten my General, like mid 90s, or like 97, whatever it was. I got my General, and it was the only antenna I had besides a 20-meter stick that I got at a flea market, and that was working because I just swapped off the CB mount. The CB antenna, threw it on there, the 3824, and you're making. But again, why they were being so, like, if you want to be part of this group, you have to use this group of antennas and nothing else. And what have we learned?
We still do it though now. I mean, we do it tongue in cheek. I mean, we keep
the speaker wire antenna works just as well sometimes.
True, but okay. So here's an example. We all love Matt's antennas. We all know them, and we know Matt well. And so, like, why don't we? Like, I mean, I remember coming in and it was like, what was the PAC-10 was the thing to get, and it was obsolete or unobtainium. And so Matt showed up on the scene. We're like, oh, we're gonna make Matt the next king, kind of to take over our lives. And I promote Matt's antenna because I know it works. I've had hands on it. I probably should try a PAC-10 someday if I can, figure out when and to get one. But it's like that same thing. Like, I remember hams growing up when I was in my teenage years, and I was like, I could barely have a pot to piss in, had a part-time paper route, kind of like work at the convenience store.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford the half of the radios that I wanted to get my hands on. And so, like, whatever they handed me down was like stuff that probably could have worked, and I had no idea how to make it work. I mean, like I had a couple of verticals that they gave me, and they sat over in the corner of the garage because I couldn't figure out how to get them up and running. And the talking about match tuning, what the hell's that? Like,
Yeah.
I think the big thing, and I was lucky, and I don't know about how you're at. It sounded like you had similar scenario. I had a couple of Elmers that were Elmers because I had relationships in Boy Scouts, going through Boy Scouts, stuff like that. And they had done radio. They were already hams. And so when we went out to do stuff out in the wilderness, having the radios were awesome and a way to back, communication and all that other stuff that they just kind of led me more towards, getting into the hobby. And then when I got in the hobby, they stuck with me. They were the people that stepped in the gap when the lids decided to open up and, put double barrels on me because they knew like, what we know now and we hear all the time is like, oh, the younger generations, the up and coming generation, the only thing we're not doing is being those Elmers stepping in the middle of the gap sometimes and saying, guys, let's change the tone here. Let's change the mindset. Let's be all on the same team instead of Team ICOM and Team Yaesu, kind of thing. I don't know. That's kind of my take on it.
No, you're right. And I still think to this day, Matt, between Rabbit and Mike, maybe they're seeing it. That what you and I have already experienced, there is always going to be 1 to 5 guys who are going to be complete dicks.
Yeah.
And that's just who they are. I think when they go home, they probably kick the dog. They probably don't tip appropriately. They probably don't give the trash man a tip every Christmas time or whatever. Again, I don't think there's any kindness in their cold hearts. And that, listen, you want to be that way, that's fine, man. I salute. You have a good day. I don't even want you in my logbook. I don't care because I'm not doing this. My contacts are not retrieving me $10 a contact. I'm doing it for fun. Period. Fun.
I think to answer Mike's question really quick, what did I go back and tell myself when I was younger? I would get more of my friend. I would get over the unpopularness of ham radio at teenage years and get more of my friends involved. Like I had we had 4 people like totally that were mostly Boy Scouts that I had relationships with that were also in the high school. And that's what formed our ham radio club. But there was 4 people in our ham radio club total. And the co-sponsor, the teacher wasn't even a ham radio. He was an electronics teacher, but he saw the value and kind of supported us in there. But I wish I was more brave that when I was playing football and stuff like that, on a high school that, when they said, oh, you play ham radio, you play that geeky stuff, standing up would have been better to say, hey, come over and play with this. This is pretty cool. You'd probably enjoy it instead of making fun of it.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like at the end of the day too, if I could go back and tell myself, and maybe this is kind of unpopular because, on one hand, it is how I learned and it was successful. I did a lot of memorization and everything, but if I could go back in time, because there was a brief window when I was a tech for like a month before, I got my general, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I thought I was just getting my tech and that was it, one and done. But it was that first contact on the repeater with Tim WB2KAO. He has a repeater. He's a blind ham. He is one of the nicest hams I have ever met. And I was fortunate that he was my first contact, and he encouraged me in that first QSO, told me to check into net on Tuesday. I did. He wasn't dogging me like, oh, you gotta level up. He was like, I hope that while you're still have this fresh in your mind, you consider going on.
Yeah.
And that was actually, it was what I needed to hear, to be honest with you. But I did a lot of memorization, and I kind of didn't know where I wanted to go with things. If I could go back, I'd point out to myself like a lot of the things that I'm enjoying in the hobby now, and that I've done just in this last month alone, are all things that techs can do. Okay, a month ago went out in the June VHF contest. Techs have privileges on all the VHF UHF bands. If you want to go run, a gallon and a half on 2 meters, you can run a gallon and a half on 2 meters on 23 centimeters, whatever.
Yes, you can.
You can do that as a tech. you can get busy on the microwave bands as a tech, and there's a lot of extras that have not gone above, 440. Like they just ain't, right. And it's fun, and it's a good learning experience because you're operating in the extremes where you're dealing with the reality of feed line loss, but you also have the opportunities of gain. It can teach you a lot about everything from coax to antennas.
As
And-
long as you have somebody that can
Yeah.
walk you through that, because if you don't,
Yep.
my gosh, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah. And I mentioned earlier, like I was playing today, like I brought the Radio Shack radio out. I was on 10 meters. Or at least it said I was on 10 meters. Who knows where I was with the drift. But I was supposed to be on 10 meters. And that was fun, right? 2-meter simplex net did that. A lot of fun on 2-meter simplex, and that this is stuff that I've been doing regularly. These are all things that I can do, and I could have been having fun, and I would have encouraged myself because I was more like that hermit. I was just like focused on studying, and I'll operate later, not realizing like I could have been having fun and learning. And the last thing I'll just mention that I did too, like I set up a APRS digipeater. So I have an APRS digipeater iGate going now. That's something a tech could do, right? And there's clearly some extras out there that wouldn't have a clue without the interwebs on how to figure out and set one of these things up. But like,
Hey, help me out for a minute.
yeah,
If you're a tech meter, if you're a tech,
me.
what the heck did that come from? Tech. Obviously, 10 meters. You have phone, but you also have your digital sideband portion. As you go lower, 15. Is it 15 and 40? What? I'd have
I know
to pull
that
up
I know
my-
that you can do some CW on 40. I feel like 20 without looking. 20 you
20
can't.
is a
like
no-no.
20 is like
Yeah.
a no-go. That was like for encouragement to like level up. But I think
my
you can do
point-
some CW on 40 and
Okay,
I'm not sure about
which is
others.
also FT8, correct?
No,
so,
you can do
Technician can't do it.
CW. Like it's
Not FT8.
Yeah, you can
You-
do
so you
CW
cannot do
as a
FT8,
tech
okay.
on 40. Yeah.
Okay, my mistake. Because I was going to
Yeah.
promote if you could do again for those techs
Yeah.
who don't want. But again, we all know the encouragement of getting that HF privilege because
Yeah.
it changes your whole viewpoint, your learning, your fun, in so many opportunities. But Mike, you are 100% right. If you go the opposite way, you're already there. You have it. It's
You
just
can do a lot.
you could do a lot. Pick your poison.
Yeah, I think it might have been interesting, for me as a tech that month, and I got my tech in November at the end of November. That's 10 meters is open in the winter season versus the summer. I was making contacts today, but certain bands are open certain times a year, a lot more consistently, and geez, if I had gotten, a radio for 10 meters and made a dipole for 10 meters and, got that thing up, like I might have had fun. I might have learned a little bit more. It might have helped me in that process. At the end of the day, I have no regrets or anything, but if I could go back, I would tell my past self, like, hey, a lot of the privileges you just earned, you're having fun with 5 years from now. And you can be
Yes,
doing this
I
now.
agree. I agree. Yes.
There's no need to wait. Like, grab
Here's the
that-
thing I would throw
grab
with the
that mic
technician
and get
piece.
busy.
Is like we forget we've got software on computers these days that can do a lot of the macros for CW. If I knew I had that capability when I was in my no-code technician and being able to use CW on the portions, I probably would have done more CW or been compelled to. But because the only thing I had was the key, and I had to figure it out in my brain and my hand coordination, it just fell flat because it tied my hands. And so from a new technician that might be listening, yeah, dude, you can use things like N1MM and others, tools, or even just some of your radios will even have a decoding capability. You can go play on 40 as long as you're in the CW portion and learn, to kind of fumble around with translating, CW and and then give him maybe you can first convince yourself to go do CW on your hand. I don't know, but
See, my
something-
thing would have been listen. I think at our young ages, we all have those different attractions. Again, mine in the late '70s, even though hanging out with my grandfather was priceless, priceless. Again, you guys have heard the stories, you've seen the pictures, But if I could tell myself, listen, you're going to spend more time building Go boxes. Again, Randolph Mantooth, who just recently passed away a few weeks ago, was one of my actor heroes. And I didn't know what a biophone was, and when he's calling for that medical patch back to Rampart Hospital, which is still standard in today's industry of public safety, EMS, emergency medical services. All right, Rabbit. That biophone, I could not wait to start building. Okay, when I was driving a potato chip truck, and I had to bring in my own AC Delco AM/FM radio, my CB, then finally my tube. I didn't realize I was building primitive boxes with regular batteries, and then all of a sudden this new company called Bioenno comes along and shows us a different type of chemistry. I would have had more time, but I think just through life, again, that crystal ball where we and Eric, we didn't have social media back then, too. You got to remember that. So also, I don't want to say distract us.
It was Saturday morning coffees, breakfast. That was like where we had to get enough gumption to be able to ask the question without feeling stupid.
Right, and everything. Because to me, I think I would have spent more time having a better workbench, better material to build my stuff. Now, sometimes, even to this day, even though I've built like 5 versions of the box, you can't see it, but the box behind me, because every time I revise the boxes because my operating style has changed, or I want to lighten it up, or I want to put something new in it, this and that. I just wish I had better tools here to make it happen a little bit easier, instead of me having to revert back to the YouTube or something to watch other people's ideas. I want to take my ideas and make my ideas work for me the first time, and not have to go into this phase of slowing down the process of it. But hell, man, you're still having fun, and I'm still grateful. Still very, very, very grateful, of it. So.
Well, glad to entertain you with our lovely Boston and New England accents. Very cool. So, yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot I wish I had, but I think it was also a lot simpler for me back in those days. Like, I had very much, like smaller goals. Like, I wanted a radio. I needed it in my car once I got my license, kind of thing. But I never really had any grandiose plans. Like, HF for me was like, they always threw the younger guys on the field day routine for the late hour shift. So it'd be me and 3 other guys, drinking, whatever. Drinking Jolt and eating really bad food for 8 hours, in the late shift, playing ham radio and making contacts. I mean, that was just the simple life. And then I hoped one day I would get an HF rig, but didn't happen.
But the best thing was. But we could take our experiences, like for instance, the first time I installed a stereo in one of my first cars, I didn't know what I was doing. Luckily, I had a great guy showing me the right way of going through the firewall. This day, I could still do it conceptually. I don't care whether it's a 2026 or a 1978. It's the same thing. You got to be careful going through the firewall.
Just a little smarter.
Yes,
you're not cutting electrical harnesses and rewiring and patching your own things.
Right, splicing and dicing.
Wondering where you get the RF.
I think I was a little spoiled when I became a technician, and Mike, you might be able to relate to this. When I became a technician, it was in 2022. So I had the plethora of the internet at my disposal of figuring things out. But I will say that I was very blessed and got a 991A soon thereafter. It was like 2 years after I got my technician. And 10 meters was hot at the time. And it was making those few little contacts within the technician portion of the band that I was like, all right, I got to lock in. I got to get the rest of this because it's not going to last forever. And it was Easter Island that sealed the deal for me.
Oh, hell yeah.
Easter Island.
Excellent.
And it was trying to figure out how to do a split transmission on the fly and I got
Five
it. I got
up,
it
five
to the
up.
logbook, and I was hooked. I was like, I have to get my general.
Yeah.
So,
But Rabbit, that's awesome. And you know something? And I think for myself, I would have to stop and think, wait a minute, how do I do this? It's not something that you do all the time. But you know there are some guys out there who have done it, who still screw up, and because you hear them on the other frequency saying you're supposed to be 5 up. You know, you're call
I did it for like an hour or two, and I was like, why? What? Who's yelling at who? I'm like, 5 up. What does that mean?
what does that mean? That's the first thing. What does that mean, right?
Yeah.
So
I
I got bored
that's
of
awesome.
it, and I shipped it up, and I ended up hearing everybody calling in.
Only by
That
mistake.
one-way transmission, right? That one, right? You know you're doing it right when you can hear that one-way transmission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you raise an interesting thing, which I've thought about, and I was thinking about it earlier too when Shannon was talking. But it kind of comes down to privileges, and then the radios that are out there, and everything else, and you know, you get your technician, and so yeah, you got 10 meters, right? I think like in the 991 is great because there's a ham locally who had his tech for the first, you know, for a couple years before he upgraded to general. I don't know if he went to extra, but he had the 991A, and I used to when I hear him talking on nets about all this stuff like he's doing on 6 meters and 10 meters, you know. Meanwhile, you know, I went from tech to general to extra like month to month to month, you know, and I was just like, dang, like this guy's doing everything that he can as a tech. Like he is just killing it on 6 and 10 and everything. He had a 991A. Like if you gave like a 991A, I think to like technicians, like that's awesome. And it's unfortunate that we don't have more of these like all band, all mode radios that will do things like that, because if you're a tech and you're a little bit like price adverse, cost adverse, getting into the hobby for the first time, you know, you're spending, you know, it could be $20, it could be $150 on your first HT. And then, you know, there are these export radios out there. There are radios out there that'll do, you know, 10, 11, 12 or something. But do you want to spend, you know, $200 on something like that? Or if you're going to be limited versus, you know, buying an HF radio, you know, something like the 991A, but then now you're talking about spending, you know, $1,000, and you can't use all of it, and it can be like a little discouraging and stuff. And at the end of the day, like I want new operators to be able to use their privileges, use what you can, and there's just not that selection out there that easily allows for that. It's unfortunate.
And the other thing too is the radio has to be easily understandable too. And I know Yaesu catches a lot of flack with their menu system, but with the 991A, it for me anyways was very easily understand. It was simply laid out, and being a technician and transition to a general, and then being able to have those access to everything, it was a fantastic radio. I don't understand the pain of buying it for $1,000 because I got it from a good friend of mine, but it is setup wise a perfect radio, full 100 watts of full mode, full band, everything else. It was a fantastic radio to start out with, and I do miss it, but I had to give it to somebody else who was a technician who just transitioned to a general, and I wanted to pass it on because it was just collecting dust for me at that point.
Do you guys feel that maybe, because I remember my grandfather said, we're going to start you off slow. Maybe that's why I got that TS-120. It was a basic radio, still like, I think the ICOM has this, I think it's the 718 or the 735. It's a basic HF radio, and I get it because I remember when I was 16, I wanted a 15. I wanted a certain car, and everyone was like, no, no, no. I didn't have the money. I had a little bit of money, but nobody wanted to fund me the rest. But now I saw it with my kids when they were 16, 17. We're not buying you a brand new car. You are not getting that brand new $60,000 car. Don't even think about it. You're not even going to get the $30,000 car. We're going to get you something to get you just from here to school, and to the job, and that's it. You're going to be limited to a circumference until your driving experience comes up, all different weather, and then we'll go from there. And is that the best? Can that still be applied to ham radio for that new ham? That's why I kind of now see why a lot of guys were advocating and gravitating a lot of new hams to that G90. It's not QRP. Yes, it's not 100. I know 50 is that sweet spot, but at least 20 watts. Put your money into antenna and feed line, and then the rest is up to propagation. And so what if you're not a 5.9? If they hear you at 5.5, who cares? They still heard you. They still heard you at 5.5. Even at 3.3, they still heard you. It'll be okay. Is that maybe still the bet? Nothing's going to be perfect, but is that sort of like maybe the best track for a lot of hams?
My
No,
opinion
it
is I think
depends.
that
No.
a rig like the 706, which was my first rig, would be perfect. Something small factor. I mean, the menu system sucked. Don't get me wrong. I couldn't.
You thought it sucked, really? That was my second radio. I like that.
As an extra, I still can't understand it. And I got rid of it a couple years ago, but I could not understand it to save my life. But it had everything I needed right there in a small form factor of 891. And if I wanted to go do this or that or whatever, or just work a net locally, it had it all right there for me.
Yeah,
I will
706
defend.
I think the 706 is a good radio, but when I made the leap back into the hobby, I bought a VHF UHF separate rig just to get on radio. But then my first radio I bought was a 450 Yaesu 450 because I wanted to remember what filters were like, and all of those functions and features that the 706 had some of those, but depending on which one you got lucky if you had them in it. If you didn't, then
right.
you're
if you did,
correct.
correct.
But the 450 had the DSP and all the filters and the notch and the the
came with it out of the box from the factory,
and a tuner if you got lucky enough. And so that was my first one, and I loved that one. But when I had a new ham come to me going, well, what should I buy? I'm told I should buy a 705 or the 76, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, here, I'll put this in front of you. You go play with this for a little while. And he ended up buying it from me because he loved it so much. And he got he understood, oh, when I move the frequency counter, I just see the frequency. I'm not looking at a waterfall. I'm not getting confused with all of this other crazy stuff. And it really drove home all the stuff because when he walked away with it, he was like, dude, I understand when they were talking about filtering and, the 3 kilohertz band pass filter, and because it all made sense when I sat in front of the radio and did it. And so, yeah, that for me was more important than, if I got one of the later cutting edge kind of radios. Now I love them because it's just convenient, but
I that's one of the few Yaesus I would buy.
Yeah, I mean, Waltz
like
loves
that.
them.
Which one? Which one?
The
450.
450.
If it had a sound card, I would own one.
Yep.
My club has one, and so they have it out at events from time to time, and it's something about the aesthetic, the look.
It's just
I like,
simple.
And I like that it's not menu driven. You have a lot of the buttons, the knobs, all in front of you. I think that's actually a good thing for new hams.
Good point. That's a good point.
And stuff, because you see it all there in front of you. You don't have to go in and know in advance what you're looking for. What you're looking for, it's on there. It's in front of you somewhere.
You turn the dial this way, it does thing. You turn the dial the other way, it does this thing.
Yeah, it's either this button, this one, or 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 this
and
one, or this one.
But if it's lit up, then you know you hit it.
Right?
And when you get lost, VFO.
Yeah, I was out with a new radio to me today, actually a CB radio. I was on 11 meters today. I did all the tech things today. I was on 10 meters, 11 meters, 2 meters, and it's what is it, a Radioddity CB 5000, and that's got a huge menu. I didn't even dive into it. That's a whole other thing.
You need to.
But it's I think for like, you know, the newer hams, like having that stuff in front of you is just, it's actually helpful. You don't have to kind of get into those menus. If the 450, and I love the look of that, if it had a sound card, like I said, I would probably own one already because
but
like,
you
it
get a
just looks
signal
great.
link. You can buy a signal link for $40 and you're good to go.
Oh, but then
I know it's more cables, but then you realize the understanding when we as
I know.
older hams go, oh, I can reduce one cable with my digi-rig now. I'm so
Yeah.
much happier. Please.
yeah, but no, like it's a great radio.
I purchased a 706 MK. Was it the MG? The one that had the
Mark II.
VHF.
Mark
UH.
IIG.
Mark
Mark
II.
IIG.
The Mark IIG.
Yeah.
Mark II
Because
beta.
at the time, this is before the all the local TV stations went digital. You could listen to their audio. So to me, when we lost power or something crazy got going on, I could listen to TV stations. To me, once again, it's all how you use your radio, right?
Yeah.
And I will always be. You guys know I will always be an ICOM fanboy. I can't wait to see what this new the X2026 is going to be. I can't wait to see what happens.
The Volvo X62?
Yes, whatever it's going to be, and I know that we probably won't see that to maybe summer, fall of 20. Oh
Well,
my God.
that makes the show easy enough.
But I will defend
all you
Yaesu
Icom people.
I will defend my FT891 for one perspective. From my perspective, I only use it for sideband. I'm either using it with the ATOS or I'm not using it with the ATOS. I have a cheat sheet when I go into the menu. This is what I'm turning on. This is what I'm turning off. But I get it. If you're using your FT891 for various modes and various ways and this and that, I can understand how it could be considered a pain in the butt, if not just painful, period. But that's Yaesu. It is what it is, and deal with it. You know.
Let's put this to rest with the Yaesu stuff with the 891. Once you set the 891 up the right way, write down all the menu settings and then walk away and go play radio, because you don't have to change. The only thing you have to change is your band or mode if you're going from sideband to digital or CW for that matter. And then you leave all the program settings alone. The only thing you need them is if you reset the radio accidentally, or it has a problem.
And mine's even simpler. Mine is sideband. Like I said, the only time mine is ATOS or no ATOS. It's very simple.
Have you ever changed any of the voice filters on an 891?
No. I defaulted everything back. The only thing I played around the back of the microphone is at 1 and 2. I guess it's a different tone.
Yeah.
That's the only. Yeah, but even that was marginal. Well, you're absolutely right, though, Eric. It's really, but I respect the hams who want to get into these radios and learn them and fool around. I respect you, but you are right. There is always that default button or that default setting, and you can start all over again, and it'll be okay. It'll be okay. What Rabbit said regarding, was it Sticker Shock? I think you said, Rabbit, regarding $1,000. I think that's just what it is. I was watching Jason 2.0 last night, one of his videos that he released this week regarding Radio Oddity is a distributor for that. There's this new radio that it's like, I don't want to call it, from Zygu.
Yeah.
They were claiming it kind of looks like the Elecraft, but this and that. It's going to be a very interesting radio. I personally do not have any interest in it, but I think it's always nice to see something else coming out to accommodate how people are going to use as well. Now, again, what is that price? What is that? Is it going to be the $800 radio, or is it going to be a $1,200 radio?
My personal opinion, I think if it's anything below 800 or below, it's going to crush the market. It's going to do great.
Which one are we talking about? The Zygu one?
The new Zygu.
The new Zygu. The new Zygu.
Guys, it's no different than the 6200 series, and you're just getting the amplifier now laid into it. I mean, it's nice, and it's a pretty package. It's like they combined the GSOC. It was a three-way love affair. The GSOC got together with the 6200 and the amplifier all on a Friday evening, and lo and behold, they produced, the 72.
Yeah, but if you could change it cosmetically, though, if you can do a cosmetic appearance and maybe make some minor stuff, I think it becomes very appealing, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
But
That-
it's no
that's gonna
different.
be
Like,
the big selling thing is it's the brand new hotness on the block. You have SDR. You have it's basically a cheap Flex, the Dollar General version of the Flex radio.
but the 6200, the
I
6200
love
is
that
already
analogy. I love
the
that.
6200 is an SDR. So like you're getting no different. Like that, you're not getting nothing new. The 6200 already does all that stuff. You look at all the specs and then you read between the lines.
So you're
I mean,
getting
so-
the amp with it.
But the only thing you're not getting is the true flex, networking capabilities, which I think if they short themselves on that, they've basically done an injustice because they could have made it a networked kind of receiver,
Well,
and that probably would have been great. But
Here's what I'm curious to learn. And this is again, like the
Speculation.
grand answer is hams. Like it depends. It all depends on how people want to use it. And I think what's going to be interesting about this radio is how you might set it up. This is a shack radio, okay? But if
I'll debate you on that.
no,
I don't think
it's
so.
It's a shack
No.
radio.
This-
That's a
do
shack
you-
radio.
and it
Is
you
it?
can, and
Are you the same
they
person that
actually
calls the
say-
710 a field radio? Don't
I-
answer that.
I say the 710's a field radio. It's got handle.
Izzo, tell your personal self that you're not gonna change this as a field radio.
I thought that okay, Mike. I thought that Zygo would offer the flexibility of a guy who wants to put it in an RV, a pickup truck, maybe. Yes, it may be a little, but I think we are gravitating. Like in my truck, in my Tundra, I've got that big. If I was to go down, no. I'm glad my new truck has that big, beautiful screen for my CarPlay and everything on there. And if you asked me 5 years ago would I want that, no freaking way. I don't need it. Back in my day, we didn't have any of that. We had two knobs that turned AM and FM, and there was the
knobs there.
cassette or the 8-track tape. Now I have it, and I don't want to go back. I love it.
Now this would apply to mobile too. Where I was going with this is what nobody. I haven't heard anyone talk about this. Everyone else has done a video or has been talking about this
Just the-
radio that
read
that
the
they don't have
review
the
specs,
details on. The only one of the few specs that's out there is like how many 100 feet of Ethernet cable you can use to connect the head to the body of the radio. And that's a really interesting concept because it's very similar. I look at it to the 905, the ICOM 905, the VHF UHF microwave radio, very similar to the 705, where the RF module is separate from, the head of the radio, and that's very important at those higher frequencies, right? Because every foot of coax, doesn't matter how good it is, that's lost on those bands.
Attenuation, right?
But
right.
But on the HF, this becomes more of a convenience thing. Whether you want to put the RF module, into the back of your car, your vehicle, or if for convenience with grounding and everything else, you want to put the RF module in the basement, but you want to have, just run some Ethernet cable up, to the second floor and have it, in the bedroom or your office or whatever. I think there might actually be some convenience there where you can have that, that remote operating head, tethered, to, the RF module or the base, whatever the right term is going to be for that thing. I'm like 8 Miller lights deep right now, but you kind of get where I'm going. Like, I think that there might actually be some convenience there, depending on how you want to operate, whether it's shack or mobile. I think that there might be some convenience there. That
Is
you
there
don't
a
get from others.
possibility? I'm going to speculate. I don't know if I'm going to see it in my lifetime. Is there a way that someone can come up with no Ethernet cable, and I don't want to say Bluetooth, maybe some type of IP address through your own created? Help me out, guys. With all,
Like what
is
the
there a way
3D
of
printers are already doing, where you can just link to the IP address?
right? I'm wondering. You know where I'm going, Eric, on this? Is there a way that somewhere, maybe in the next 10 to 20 years, there is your RF black box, and I don't care whether it's in the house or the vehicle, but it's no cable needed to talk to the head in the microphone.
Okay, so I see where you're going with it. There is the Flex World has that obviously with their. Am I just drawing a blank with their portable unit? Shoot, I forgot what the name is. Anyway, they have the capability, so you can go Wi-Fi, you can go wired, whatever. It's just basically your black box sits on your network cabled, and you can plug into it as a client connecting to it, or I can do it from my desktop, kind of thing.
Okay.
I think the problem is that when you start to think about mobile or like having the distance, you have to deal with the whole issue of delay and latency that Flexes seem to aim on, and a few others have solved, but at an expense of us paying premium money this. So I think that cable mic is really just the convenience factor of being able to like put it somewhere else.
It is. Yep.
I don't think it's going to be one of those things you want to put close to the antenna. Because like a 905 where you're putting the the actual RF components like on the antenna kind of thing to save in space. But my biggest thing is like they had made an attempt at the GSOC, right? That whole GSOC thing came out, and that was sort of their attempt at trying to compete within the RF upper echelon space of having a mobile unit with an SDR and a few other things, but it failed miserably because they just didn't do great on the software firmware side. If they fixed those bugs and then applied this to the new unit, I think the 6200 would be much better as a radio because it's basically already a decent radio, although I've heard people report saying the CW side of it kind of sucks. But from a sideband perspective, the 6200 is a great little radio. It works great, 10 watts. Having now something that's 100 watts, now you bump the bar up a little bit better. And if you can keep it under $800, then I think you get a lot more of the the hams that couldn't afford the $15 or $1,000 dollar radio plus market. They'll nab a lot of people.
Hey boys, I'm gonna jump
Good
off
job.
real quick.
Yeah,
73 guys. Glad to
Good seeing you, Rabbit.
hang out with y'all.
Thanks, Rabbit.
Bye, Rabbit. Be
I
safe.
want to put a little bow on this myself because I should be scooting too. I've got to go do some maintenance stuff for servers. It's my Saturday.
Hey, Eric,
evening.
I must tell you, Eric, you look very distinguished. Very,
Well, I
very.
appreciate the feedback and thank you, but it's still not going to change. My wife barely talks to me now. She tells me I'm a stranger.
Oh, that's not true.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I could. I'll have to document all this for now.
I'm waiting for her to walk in and say, "Yes, it is. It's out."
She will. Bob, a cop, already, constantly says, you should keep it, even if your wife says whatever. And I'm like, nope. Partner for life.
You.
Exactly. So, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. In essence, after I have the teacher on to, basically pay it forward and do a whole bunch of things on a live stream with him and whatnot, then, we might take a razor to it. But you guys might actually get this, I know a nice barber down the street that does good shaves. And so
have him come into the shack. Have him come into the shack.
No, dude, I'll go right to them. I'm going to sip bourbon. They have the, the bourbon and whiskey locker and, the whole 9 yards. So I'm going to make it all like, something that I want to enjoy. I don't want to do this in front of with cameras. I'll record it, but all good there. So yeah, I think the biggest thing out of that I could take away from all of this is and Mike from the going back in technician time is be an Elmer. Like, don't worry, sweat the whether or not everything. Just be an Elmer to somebody in the hobby, and it will go a long way. Like I have done that to many people, and they're still sticking around, even though we have lids in our club that constantly tell them the way it used to be kind of thing. And, they come to me and go, should I trust whatever so-and-so? I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. They're just cranky. Just move along. You'll keep doing what you're doing. You're having fun. That's all that really matters. Let that sink in.
Yep.
I agree. Like Shannon said, just be nice. Just be nice.
We just need to be more nicer in this hobby if we're going to keep it going. That's really what it is, right?
It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
To be nice, yeah.
Yep.
Don't be judgmental. Be curious, is what Ted Lasso says.
Yeah, no. We at the end of the day, we all have what the newer hams don't. And it's experience, and it doesn't mean that we know more. It just means that we've been through more. Good or bad, we've made mistakes. We've talked to jack wagons and lids and all that other stuff. And, at the end of the day, like you said, it's like, be that Elmer, be that encouraging voice for others, because my first contact, I still remember it. And it was very encouraging That's the word, encouraging. And if anything, that's what I've tried to do with my channel, is just share my experience and encourage others.
Yep.
At the end of the day, that's what it is. This is what I'm doing, and I hope it encourages you to RF around, find out, try different things. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's it, because there's so much to learn, and there's still, hams that we have in our clubs that have been there for decades, and there's things they haven't even done yet. And I'm not just talking about
Which is
ST8
so
or whatever,
phenomenal.
this is one of those hobbies where there's so much. There's something for everybody, and just because somebody's doing something that you haven't done or you don't like doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just that's how they're having fun.
Yep.
Correct.
Let them enjoy it or whatever. Don't disparage them or anything else. That's it. Just go out there, have fun, be a good dude. That's it. I'm done. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Well, it's good to have you guys, be arm in arm,
Yeah.
because I think, people obviously turn to us in some form or fashion, and, it's the same thing. Guys, go around, be the same, be encouragements. Don't be jackwagons.
Yep. Yeah, and there's one of the ones right there, Kevin.
I was just thinking the
Is there
same
okay?
thing
He'll be-
too.
Yeah, he's sandbagging in there. He's probably
You
been
can't do it. You can't. You
He's
can't
been there
have
all
fun
3
on-
hours, but he hasn't said a thing till now. But
You
No.
can't have
Kevin's one of
fun on
those-
a half a watt. You can't have fun on a half a watt or
Yeah.
1 watt. Or the only way you
Yeah.
could do it is on CW. No, we have worked Kevin in Iowa and Steve in North Carolina on a
Yeah.
watt, on a half a watt, and I still jump up and down when I make that contact on 20-meter sideband with them.
Yeah.
I still jump around, and I love it. Everyone thinks I'm nuts. I'm getting ready to do cartwheels and jumping jacks when I do it, and I don't care. I don't care. I will always do it.
We're going to rebrand him. We're going to call him the Happy Gilmore of ham radio,
yes,
just to give it back to him.
yep.
Well, everybody have fun. Everyone have fun. I'm gonna be out in the parks tomorrow. One park, maybe two, probably just one. But I'm gonna try to be in my first park by 11, and then carry it over into the afternoon. That's the game plan, because I did all my chores today. I did everything I had to do today.
Good.
Here in the Northeast, it's gonna be a beautiful day tomorrow. So
Bands are looking better too. So
yeah.
sweet. Mike, where are you going to be at? What's going on?
I don't know. There's so much going on. It's just like one day at a time, right? But I might be out. I might be out tomorrow. If I'm not out tomorrow, I'm gonna make antennas, because like one of the things, and this was a question on the newbie net this week. Like if they asked, they're like, if you had one Saturday free, what would you do? And I said probably one of the most technician things ever. I was like, I'm gonna make dipoles. I got like 3 different dipole kits like that I want to make. The only thing is I'm doing what every extra would do, is I'm overthinking it. Like what bands, how many links, and all this other stuff, right? But at the end of the day, yeah. So maybe I'll be out at the park tomorrow. I was looking at the calendar. My son's got soccer evaluations for the next season. So I might be there. I might just be out, playing POTA, or I might be wrapping toroids. I don't know.
Wow.
We'll kind of see.
Nothing wrong with that.
I made one video and I did 2 shorts, and I did a net today. Like as far as like I could sit out ham radio the next few days and still feel accomplished after after today. But yeah, we'll see.
Sweet.
We shall see. If anything, I'll try to be on the QRP SSB net.
Looking forward to it. Well,
Yep.
yeah, with me, you check out the Beard log. I have to say, if you want to find out more of my inner, deeper thoughts of why I don't like said, Beard, check that out. Yeah, like Mike said, I've got a couple of videos coming through the pipeline, so check those out. And actually, Patreon side, we're doing our custom build now. So if you're a Patreon listener, you could get in on winning a we'll say a full complete satellite build. I'm taking the best of the bests of everything in the satellite FM world and putting it into a complete kit, and we're going to test the crap out of it, make it work, and then one lucky winner will end up getting it. So
Cool.
should be fun. But with that, I don't know. Shall we kick the intro again?
That was a cool intro. I like that.
You want to run the intro?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no,
for those
no.
that missed it.
Yeah, and I want one of those JPEGs. I want that JPEG of me.
I'll post them up on Discord. You can take a look at them up there.
You do that. You do that, and I'll call the your that Ham Shack hotline. What do you call that thing?
The Ham Shack
That
hotline.
telephone number? No.
Oh, you're talking about Live Free and Ham? Yeah.
Live Free and Ham. Yeah, I'll give you guys a phone
That's
call.
still around, guys.
Izzo, the next time you call, you need to do that with an auto patch on 220.
If you can find one.
If you